Find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Jenny King, the king of clean, delivers reliable, high-quality commercial cleaning services through a proven franchise model that empowers local business owners. Jenny King's franchise owners receive the training, support, and resources needed to succeed, while clients benefit from tailored cleaning solutions backed by a global brand. Jenny King ensures consistent results, trust, and success for everyone we serve. Go to JennyKingCleans.com and find out how we can help you. That's JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
Hey, it's on. Come see me at M&L Industries off I-10 in Siegen Saturday, April 5th from 8 to 10 a.m. for Kubota Orange Days. You can enjoy food, fun, test drives, and exclusive Orange Days discounts on Kubota equipment. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. here on Wednesday, March 26th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect cloudy skies with a high of 82 in hour one of today's show. We'll recap LSU's run rule victory over the ULL Raging Cajuns, and Bill Bender hops on the show to talk some March Madness. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number one of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let's go, baby, let's go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Wait, that's so weird. I can't hear you either, and it's on. Is the button, in? Great start to Off the Bench today. Oh, gosh. I don't know. It's on. Okay, welcome into Off the Bench. We are having technical difficulties with Jake's mic right now. Is it not plugged in? Jake's mic is not plugged in. We have a great start to the morning this morning. T-Bob is out. Jake
Man, I had
in the hostess chair.
Golly.
I was
That's
like,
on me.
Wait,
I figured
why
it
aren't
out.
you talking?
Man, Taylor Tay sabotaged me. He plugged in T-Bob's microphone, and T-Bob's not here.
Oh, dang.
Welcome in, OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You got to hear sabotage there for an extended period.
I thought I was,
there
when
you
I
go. I was
switched
like,
the mic,
maybe Alondra's just trying to rock out. My microphone's low. Beastie Boys are up. I'm okay with Beastie Boys being up high. I'll let it ride a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to get sabotaged by Tay-Tay today.
That's crazy.
When I switched the mics, I didn't switch the cough buttons. So he was still technically plugged into the other one when I switched. Yeah.
It's okay. Look, I don't care. You know, you can fumble the ball and still pick it up and run for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do today. Absolutely. We do have a big show planned. Y'all know OTB. We're not a big guest show, but anytime that I'm solo, I don't like to talk for 3 straight hours. You probably don't want to hear me talk for 3 straight hours. So we do have some great guests lined up today. Tay-Tay mentioned Bill Bender of the Sporting News, Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South, Blake Baker, LSU defensive coordinator. We've got Matt McCall of SiriusXM, Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball. So we've got a lot of great guests planned for you today. I don't know if you heard this part. Jake, Alondra, and Tay-Tay here with you today. Alondra, Tay-Tay, how are you feeling?
I feel good.
You sound much better.
Yeah, I feel so much better than I did last week. We were talking about it this morning. I was dying and using like all of my energy to do the show and then just passing out when I get home. But feel great. Great win from the Tigers last night to bounce back from the series loss. So, yeah. Tay-Tay.
Tay-Tay's got a big day today.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Today is me and Victoria's 2-year wedding anniversary. How she managed to do this for 2 years is beyond me.
We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary here, Tay-Tay.
We are. We are coming up on our 2-year anniversary in April and can't even plug in a mic correctly. So we're going to see what happens today. Unfortunately, guys, I'm working till like 8 o'clock tonight, which is pretty unfortunate, but
do you know
what are you doing until 8 o'clock?
So I have a high school baseball game to do at 5. However, it got pushed back to 5:30, which means we're not done till about 7:30. So I'm probably not getting home till about 8.
Didn't you do one last night?
Yeah, so it's the district tournament. It was supposed to be Monday and Tuesday. Monday was a rain out. They pushed it back a day, which kind of sucks. But
are you solo or do you have a partner on this one?
No, I have a partner. He actually wound up showing up yesterday. The game got moved from 2 to 4, so he wound up showing up.
Doing baseball solo would have been tough.
Boring.
Yeah,
well, I didn't want to say that.
It's one of those where like you need a color analyst to like bounce off of and give you the stats and everything. But Tay-Tay, do you know what the second, you know how like every anniversary has like China or like platinum or whatever, you know? Do you know what it is for the second anniversary?
Is paper first?
I don't know if it's first, but the second one is cotton.
Cotton?
Yeah, so you got to get Victoria some cotton.
I probably got some cotton balls somewhere around the house
it's
already.
Cotton.
Yeah, we're good. I'll probably find some cotton balls.
I wouldn't go with cotton balls.
No, I would go like a robe, like a nice robe, maybe some PJs.
Yeah. So you're looking it up, like what anniversary means what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming up on 18 here this summer.
Hey.
So I know, I feel like there's a lot of expectation for this one.
For you.
All right, let's see. 18-year anniversary gift. Wait, I need to write traditional.
I don't even want to know.
Porcelain. It's porcelain for the 18th anniversary.
So a new toilet.
I don't think Katie would appreciate that.
Happy anniversary. Here you go.
Maybe. I don't know if they're also made of porcelain.
Maybe it's like a porcelain bowl will probably do there.
She's into decor.
Yeah, very much so. If it was T-Bob, he definitely would get a new toilet.
Yeah, shout out Central Plumbing.
Yeah, that's where I would go to get said toilet. We do have a ton to get to. Pro Day is going to be taking place a little bit later on. Alondra and I know will be out there. Tay-Tay, I'm sure you're working some kind of an extra job or some job, so I don't think that you'll have the opportunity to go out there.
Slim. Odds are slim right now.
Okay. Who are we looking forward to watching out there during Pro Day? Will Campbell's going to be the main attraction. So Will Campbell's probably going to have every team, I would assume, in the top 10 in the building and maybe even outside of the top 10, top 15. I'm not saying every head coach is going to be there, but general manager, head scout, offensive coordinator, offensive line coach. So there's going to be some names and faces in attendance. Will it look like last year's LSU Pro Day? Probably not. Probably not. You had Jaden Daniels, you had Malik Neighbors, you had Brian Thomas Jr. That was a packed indoor building, but there's still going to be, a high attendance level from some high up executives, Tay-Tay, in the NFL. So who is the most excited that you're going to be to go out there and watch?
Outside of Will Campbell, maybe not the most excited, but maybe the most important for him. To me, it's Braden Swenson. He didn't run the 40 at the NFL Combine, and you and I talked about it like 40's not as important as that 10-yard split. He did not do that at the combine. I'll be interested to see what he does. A guy like him with a good 40 time, I mean, could move up the draft board a good bit. I think that's a guy to keep an eye on.
I was watching, I think it was my guy, Trevor Sikkema, who does a great job for Pro Football Focus, him and Connor Rogers, who we've had on this show before. They were talking about him maybe being one of the most underrated players in this draft. And you're right about him not doing anything in Indy. And I kind of went off, and this isn't just Braden Swinson. I mean, it was more on Cam Scatterbo. I went off on the guys that didn't do anything in Indianapolis for the combine. And one of the reasons was because, like, that's it. That's all you've got. We were talking about Xavier Restrepo yesterday. He goes out and runs a 4.82, and then I know he's like, well, my hamstring was tight. I don't know what the situation was, but when you don't run at the combine and you save it for pro day, and if you run a 4.82, there's not another day. There's no more pro days, no more scouting combines. That's it. That's your time. So you do run the risk of, if you don't have the time that you want, that's going to be your official time in the draft room, in the war room, whenever they're making decisions. So it's a big day for him.
What'd they say about Cam? Foot issue? Calf issue? Something like that?
Hamstring.
Hamstring issue?
I believe he had a hamstring. So there's no official time on him. So Swinson's somebody that I think actually is going to run a nice 40.
Well, I mean, you're somebody who did this. I mean, congrats to you, Jake. You're the only person I know who has done a pro day, so that's a big day for you. Do they care more about a slow 40 time or someone that didn't run it? Like, what are they taking to consider? Like, what do they hold against you more?
No, they have to have an official time.
They want a time.
If they're using a high draft choice on you. They need something to go off of. Now, if you're a quarterback, Jaden Daniels, perfect example. What do we think Jaden Daniels could run? Pretty damn fast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, 4.3, 4.4, I don't know what it is, but it's going to be fast, okay? But he's a quarterback. So he didn't run a 40. I didn't really need to run a 40. We saw him pull away from the Florida Gators and go 80 yards. So that part of his game is understood. What can you do, throwing the football? Like, that's the main objective here. So, like, if Jaden Daniels doesn't run, okay. But, like, Malik Neighbors had to run last year. Like, Jamar Chase at his pro day, remember, he didn't run one at the count. He had to run. You're not going to spend a top 10 pick on a receiver, and I don't have a time on you. A running back either. It's just not going to happen. I don't know that you'd spend a first-round pick on somebody you don't have a verified time on. Unless there's, like, an injury and it's legit and you're like, okay, well, I know for a fact he couldn't run his 40. If it's like, my hamstring's tight, that's red flags. Right, wrong, or indifferent. It's red flags because they're thinking, why don't you want to run the 40?
I guess that's my question about Scatterbo. Like, let's say, would that drop him from, like, late second to possibly early 4 just because he doesn't have a 40 time? Because, I was telling you yesterday during one of the breaks, like, what I saw Cam Scatterbo to do against Texas, I don't care what his 40 time is, but, like, apparently people do.
No, I'm with you in that, but they're going to want to know. At least cone drills, like at bare minimum. He went to the combine, he did vertical jump and the broad jump. That was it. And they were both impressive numbers, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's not many times at the running back position in the NFL where you're going to stand still and jump. It's just not going to happen. Like, I can see that you're explosive, and that's why they do that, but I need to know at least, like, cone times, 40 times, all those type of things. So that's what pro days are for. LSU's having their pro day again today, so we'll get a chance to see the Tigers that have moved on one final time inside the indoor facility a little bit later on today. Again, Alondra and I will be out there, so we'll get some good reporting hopefully done today, kind of report back who did well, maybe who still needs to try to do some more work once they get drafted, once they sign that undrafted free agent rookie contract. We'll give you a full list of who's participating at the LSU Pro Day as well. Of course, we're going to get to LSU Baseball when we come back. Payback for Cajunomics in a big, big way. We'll have all that for you when we jump back here. It is OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to GoTommies.com, G-E-A-U-X, Tommies.com. Of course, that is Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. Go to the website today, and I always tell you, the thing that's right there in front of you is testimonials of past clients. The work that they've done in the greater Baton Rouge area, how satisfied all of these customers are. And it's with all the things that they do over at Tommy's. Listen to the community. They are telling you the job that Tommy's doing. Also, you can check out a gallery of work that they've already done in the area. That way you can see it for yourself. You can see the work that they've done here in this area. And I always tell you, if you've got a custom job, something that's just in your mind that you have dreamt of, and you think, I want my space to look like this, have Tommy and the team come out. I promise you they are going to do everything they can do to get your custom job done as well. The number 225-250-8808. And as we said, always online at gotommys.com.
Based right here in Louisiana, over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them.
Back at it, where sports talk meets pure chaos. Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Chill out, big voice lady. Did we have the wrong microphone plugged in to start the show? Yes. Is that chaotic energy? Maybe. But we were playing Sabotage, and that's what Taylor was trying to do to me, okay? Sabotage the show.
I mean, it just is what it is.
It's fine, Tay-Tay.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate the hustle.
I mean, I thought I came in here and had everything done early. You know, I was just sitting here chilling right before the show.
At least he didn't forget the mic this time.
Well,
it was just
the wrong one plugged in.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm sitting here and I can't hear Jake, and I'm like, Jake and Alondra screwed something up. I was like, I don't know what they did.
I did see his face kind of like,
it's me the whole time.
What's going on?
I was like, well, I
on here.
switched the mic over. It clearly wasn't me. No, it was.
It is all good, sir. All right, it is time to get this thing started.
It's time to get to work, courtesy of Tiger Labor and Staffing, where they can help take care of screening, training, payroll, and more. Now, for starters.
All right, Tiger Labor and Staffing, locally owned and operated, 225-275-8437. Find work, find people. When it comes to temp labor in Baton Rouge, they have the eye of the tiger. TigerLabor.com is the website. All right, LSU Baseball takes care of ULL in a very big way. LSU wins 17-4 over in Alec Bach Stadium, and LSU is now improved to 23-3 on the season. ULL has dropped to 11-15, so not one of the ULL teams that we've seen in the past, but it was a big way for LSU to bounce back after dropping 2 of 3 in Austin to the University of Texas. And look, you lost to Texas, you lost 2 games. There's issues, certainly. The issues are something I think that you can look at and say, okay, here's the area, and we talked about it, the bullpen. We need to get it figured out. You have some live arms down there. Now it's about, as we always say with Jay Johnson, turning the Rubik's Cube. How does he make sure that he keeps turning it until he solves it? But I think, Alondra Tate, this is a nice bounce-back way. You score 17 runs. The bullpen got some action in the game. You run rule them so you don't play a full game, obviously. But nice way to bounce back for LSU baseball.
Yeah, it's good to get a good win under your belt whenever you drop 2 games back to back. And especially against, it was not, the competition wasn't what it usually is with the Cajuns, but it's still an in-state rival, so still a big win for the Tigers. And Jaden Newt went out there, got 2 strikeouts, no walks in 3 innings pitch. And then he did end up putting William Schmidt out there, and no strikeouts for the kid. But you got to find it. Sometimes it just kind of like the command gets away from you. He needs to find it, and that's why I thought that it would be a good idea to roll him out there on last night, and ended up pitching 2 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, so 1 walk. And then Connor Benj went out there, Dorsey, and Maverick Rizzi, we didn't talk about him yesterday, but he's another bullpen arm that has been consistently good whenever you throw him out there. So that's on me for not mentioning him yesterday, but that's another arm that you have that you can rely on if you want to save Cowan for another time.
Which it feels like he is going to have to be the guy that you say for high leverage situations, and maybe your starter's out there not struggling, but you can tell he's coming to the end. It's the 5th inning. You got a 1-run lead. You want to get, obviously, to the 8th, the 9th inning, and he's got to be that guy that goes the 6th inning, the 7th inning, because he has been so good this year in that role. And look, do I think he could be a starter? Absolutely, I do. But right now, you need him exactly where he's at, and you don't really have that luxury of doing that. And then getting back to William Schmidt, and I'll throw it back to you, Tate. Like, I know that Jay said he maybe wasn't going to pitch on Tuesday nights anymore, but he needed to go back out there in this game, right? After giving up the big home run against Texas, we know how talented he is. He was going to be a surefire first-round pick. The talent is there, but you're still a freshman. I remember being a freshman. I remember being on the road against Florida. Jamarcus is making audibles. I can't hear a word that he's saying. We're supposed to be running toss right. I go left. Like, it is tough. Yeah. Your head is spinning. Do you have the talent to go out there and do it? Yes, or you wouldn't be in that situation. But no matter how talented you are, and William Schmidt's way more talented than I was, you have to figure it out. And that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do as a freshman. And so this isn't going to be the best competition, right? ULL's down this year, but it's still high leverage because it is ULL, because you're going to have a more lively Alec Bach Stadium, because you're going to have an in-state rival, opponent, whatever you want to call it, in your stadium. And so the results were okay. They were okay. Didn't have a strikeout. You mentioned he does give up some earned runs, but he went out there, pitched 2 innings, and it's just going to be a process with him. He's going to have to get comfortable. He's going to have to figure out how to throw to college batters. He will, and once he does, later in the season, you're going to be better because he's giving you these innings right now, early in the season, early in conference play as a freshman.
I love that he threw him out there. Matter of fact, I would have been okay if Jay would have thrown 9 pitchers. I would have been like, hey, we don't want a run rule. We want one pitcher every inning. You got to find guys that can put strikes up there, that'll stop walking batters, that can get you outs. What I liked the most about last night, 5 different pitchers for LSU. They combined for 1 total walk in 5 pitchers. That was huge for me because that was your issues on Sunday, right? You couldn't get outs. Chase Shore struggled. Then, you struggle on Saturday, the back half of the inning. We talked about it. The last 12 innings is what we had mentioned multiple times against Texas. This team couldn't get runs across the plate, and they couldn't get outs when they needed them most. You did that last night as well because if you look at the offensive side of the thing, 11 hits, 17 RBIs. You found the timely hits. Jerry Jones had a grand slam. Cade Aaron Beatty had a 2-run homer. You had another homer in that game last night as well. Everything you wanted to see, I think you saw it. I don't care about the competition as much because when I'm Jay Johnson, I'm like, I need pitchers that can get me outs. Yeah. I need timely hitting. You did both those things last night.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of watching the game, and it is what baseball is. It's such a game of failure. It's such a game of ups and downs, and that's always I tell my friends that have made it in the big leagues, like, congratulations to you. It is so hard to be consistent in this game, and if you get vested in Major League Baseball, you got to put in 10 years. That is so difficult. Like, we do 4 for the NFL. Y'all got to do 10, and y'all got a game of failure where you can be a dude one year, and the next year you can just fall off the face of the earth. And I was watching the game last night, and Ashton Larson pinch hit. He came in with a pinch hit situation. And I'm like, oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ashton.
He was a guy that we were like, you got to find a way to get him in the lineup right
Larson
before the year.
Yeah, Larson last year was he was the thing that kind of energized you a little bit. Remember, when he went to the lineup, you were searching for something. He kind of gave you that, and it lasted. And he had a nice regional in Chapel Hill. It's and now he's pinch hitting on a Tuesday night.
We didn't see him all weekend, huh?
No, he did not. He did not play at all weekend because we came back after opening weekend and we were like, man, we were kind of surprised that Ashton Larson didn't get the opening day start, at least at DH. He's been so good in the fall. He was so good at the end of last year. He's kind of gotten lost in the shuffle a little bit. I mean, you got Pearson, you got Brown, you got a number of other guys kind of ahead of him right now. I mean, he kind of got lost in the weeds a little bit. But the good thing is we know what he can do, right? Because he didn't really pick it up until the back half of last year. If you could get that again, that's another weapon in your lineup.
Yeah, man, baseball is...
He's hitting 240 on the season.
I know. It's just it is a game of failure. You have to learn how to deal with it. You have to learn how to bounce back, and that's how you last. And so the Tigers take care of the Cajuns 17-4 in 7 innings. Now they turn their attention to Mississippi State. Remember, this is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series inside the box, and that first pitch is going to be 7 p.m. on Thursday night. Looking forward to that one. Mississippi State right now 1-5 in SEC play, so certainly trying to turn their fortunes around here in Baton Rouge. All right, we will step away. When we come back, going to be joined by my guy Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Talk a little NCAA tournament, probably get into some spring football, maybe even some draft with my guy Bill Bender. We'll be back. More OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. We tell you every single day, no matter what you are trying to get done, if you are buying new, if you are leasing, or if you are renting, everything is available in all 3 of those processes. You're not going to find that anywhere else. Oftentimes, when you are leasing, you got a couple of options, maybe one in each category. Everything is available over at All Star. Certainly in the rental department, you're not going to have a lot of options. You might have 3 total options, like 1 sedan, 1 midsize SUV, maybe a truck. Well, they got multiple sedans, multiple hybrids, multiple midsize SUVs, multiple trucks, van, full-size SUV. Everything is available in that process. So you got spring break coming up. Maybe you've got a summer trip already planned, right? You want to think ahead, get ahead of everything else. Go ahead and schedule that rental today. Call Miss Lisa Sessions, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Welcome back to the best morning sports show around. Sorta. It's Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in to OTB here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Nice job, Alondra, with the wallflowers there. Let's go to the phone lines now. Bill Bender of The Sporting News joins us. At Bill Bender 92 is always the handle on social media. Bill, I talked to you yesterday, but it's never enough. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Jacob. Thanks for having me on.
Bill, I always wonder, like this time of year, because obviously for The Sporting News, I mean, you cover basketball, you cover college football. I mean, you do a lot of different things. This time of the year where basketball is heavy, but you got spring football, you've got the NFL draft. How many different hats are we wearing there?
Pretty much. I was telling somebody last week I went from doing a March Madness story to a teleconference with Mel Kiper to and I was coming back from Ohio State spring practice. So I was literally like, okay, which sport? But you know what? It's my favorite time of year because of that. I love the draft. I love March Madness. And obviously you always want to keep your eye on college football and what's going on with spring football. So it is a beautiful time of year, and the sun's up in Ohio.
There you go. I talked to Bobby Carpenter yesterday, and he was also excited that might be something that happened in Ohio. So good for y'all. Good for y'all that the sun is out there, and hopefully no more snow days up in Ohio. Look, hey, you know me. We're going to go across the gambit. We're going to talk NCAA basketball. We'll talk draft. We'll talk spring football, and we might as well start with basketball, something you and I talked about yesterday. But before we get to the tournament, I am still so surprised right now because, I mean, you right now on The Sporting News, you've got the coach tracker, where everybody's going, who got fired, who's replacing them, and there's so many big names. And we saw one last night, right? Richard Pitino is going to Xavier to now be their next head coach, going from New Mexico. But Villanova, they fire Kyle Neptune, and they're sitting there. They don't have a coach. The transfer portal opened up 2 days ago. And I know the NCAA tournament is still going on. I'm sure that the person they've identified as their next head coach is still coaching right now. But it's a little bit of a dangerous game, isn't it?
It really is, and much more dangerous than football in some ways. Where football, if you miss that first couple weeks of December, I mean, there's still time because you have spring football. You can work the portal. You can recruit a little bit longer. I mean, you might have to, Villanova potentially, you never know, might have to build an entirely new roster. That's the world we live in, whereas we were talking about yesterday, you take a team like Arkansas. John Calipari has exactly one guy on his roster from last year. One.
Yeah.
They got 6 from the portal, 6 freshmen, brought a couple guys from Kentucky with them, and here they are on the Sweet 16. So, yeah, it is definitely a dangerous game.
Well, the thing that is different in basketball, Bill, and you kind of mentioned it there, like, so for football, if I lose 4 guys, 5 guys, I'm not, in love with that, but the rosters are huge, right? So I can kind of absorb that a little bit, and maybe I can add some more guys. I'll give you, like, for instance, LSU a couple of days ago, they lost 3 guys. You're talking about 25% of your roster, just like in the blink of an eye, is gone in college basketball when you lose 3 players, right? And so you lose those players, and if you're on Villanova's roster right now or anywhere, I mentioned LSU, and you lose those 3 guys, it's like, man, we got to try to find a way to replace these guys. But for Villanova, they don't have a coach. So these players that have already, because we know how the portal works, Bill, these players have already been contacted. These players already have a pretty good idea of where they're going, and it just feels like you continue to get behind the 8 ball. And I know, Mark Pope was a little bit later last year for Kentucky. BYU obviously made a move after that, but you're getting into dangerous territory of not being able to really get the roster that you want day by day as it passes and you don't have a head coach.
Yeah, and stability is in college basketball. I saw my editor, Bill Troche, sent me a Instagram post last night that showed the starting 5 for all the Sweet 16 teams, and the only one that had 5 guys that actually started their career there was Purdue. And I'd got to give it to Purdue. They are known for stability, right? They don't. I think Matt Painter's done a nice job there, and when you have the same coaches they're kind of like the Steelers. They've only had a couple coaches my lifetime. That's really, it's hard to come by, though. But you look at some of that, and I'll send you that post, but it's very interesting to see how many schools don't have a starter started with the school. Michigan's another example. Dusty May being able to, a 1-year turnaround there. I don't know that Michigan, I don't know what they are. I know they've played a ton of close games, but he has done a phenomenal job in the turnaround and getting them to the Sweet 16 in a position to play Auburn this week.
Certainly has done that. Bill, last one here in the NCAA tournament, because I do want to get some draft and football talk in with you, as now the Sweet 16 is set. And again, you do a great job covering for the Sporting News. Do you change anything, your mindset, who you have maybe winning this entire deal? Because it's been pretty chalky. Like even the, air quote, Cinderella is a 10-seed Arkansas team that has Coach Cal on their bench, and we know what that roster looks like and who they brought in. So anything change for you as we sit here and get ready for the Sweet 16 tomorrow?
Not really. I still think Florida and Duke are the 2 best teams, but, sorting out those 7 SEC teams, I mean, what an awesome matchup. Kentucky beat Tennessee twice, and Tennessee's favored in this matchup this week. I'm really excited to see that one. You mentioned Auburn and Michigan. That's Auburn's heavily favored, but this Michigan team's been hot. Stat I threw at you yesterday, I'll throw it out there again. Tom Izzo, 9-0 against the SEC in the tournament. And if you go back and look, it's not like he beat good SEC teams in the tournament. So, Michigan State's very good, and I'm excited to see it. But I still got Florida in the championship. One of my brackets says Florida, one of my brackets says Duke, so I'll be happy either way.
I went Florida versus Duke in the Natty as well, and it pains me to say I went with the Florida Gators to win the national championship. And so I think what they did in the regular season, but also, Bill, when you have a conference that sets the mark at 14 teams, never been done before. I mean, you beat the record by a lot, and Florida dominated the SEC tournament like they did. I think that's why I'm so confident that they're going to get to that point, because when you have a league that's that deep and you dominate like they did and finish the thing, they went into the tournament maybe as the hottest team.
And they've proven they can win different ways. Like UConn got them in a little bit of a slow down game, at least by their standards, and they were able to knock out the defending champs. Walter Clayton, a football guy. We wrote a story about him a couple weeks ago. had some Division I offers as a safety as a sophomore, and he kind of plays that game like a safety. And very physical point guard. They take a cue from him. He's been phenomenal in the tournament. So I do like the Gators' chances.
All right, catching up with Bill Bender of the Sporting News here on OTB. All right, Bill, let's get to a little NFL draft because today is actually LSU's pro day, so a lot of us are going to be heading over there to check out Will Campbell and others. What's maybe the biggest storyline for you as I think we're less than a month away now from being in Green Bay and watching some new faces walk across the stage?
Yeah, I think we're looking at the quarterbacks. I'm working on a feature about Cam Ward, and it's what a path. We were just talking about the portal, a guy that goes from playing at Incarnate Word. He was a option quarterback in high school in Texas. They ran the beer for those. I know you know what the beer is, but he's this guy that can throw it all around the yard, and I think he's a really interesting prospect. How many guys does Ohio State get drafted from that national championship team? And, of course, opinions vary on Travis Hunter. I don't know what position he's going to play. I don't know that he can play both ways. I think he's going to be a really solid pro. It's just, okay, do you really what are you drafting him to play? I think all the questions around Travis will be very interesting.
Yeah, and then – a team that's close to where you live, I mean, the Cleveland Browns, they feel like depending on which way they go is how the first 5, 6, 7, 8 picks could turn out, because if they don't go quarterback, that kind of changes it. But then you look at the Giants, who sit there at 3. They signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year contract. They signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year contract. So they've got 2 veteran quarterbacks. So does that point to them not going quarterback?
And who takes Abdul Carter? So if the Browns take Shador, which I still think is in play, then, I mean, as you know, I live up here, so I've seen Cleveland do it every way wrong. At some point, they got to get it right. And either way, we'll say they got it wrong. If they take Abdul Carter, we'll say they should have taken a quarterback. If they take Shador, we'll say, why did they take Shador? So that's just how we do it up here. Very interesting about the Giants, that news yesterday. So they have Russ and they have Jameis. So I don't know that they'll go quarterback, at least for a year, especially if they don't like Shador. So other than Cam Ward at 1, I think it could be interesting at a top 5. No, and since you're a running back, I think you'll appreciate this. I'm really curious to see who takes Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
I think Amarian Hampton's a first-round running back. And then Cam Scatterbu, maybe not a first-round pick, but who takes him? His unique skill set after the great bowl season he had.
Yeah, we're actually talking about Cam Scatterbu earlier in the show because there's not a time on him yet, right? He didn't run the 40 at the Combine, and so we'll see if he gets that done at Arizona State's Pro Day. I think a lot of teams are wanting to know what he's going to run. He doesn't have to run a 4.4, and not with his running style, but I think that's something that teams want to see. I'm glad you mentioned the running back position, though. I mean, Ashton Genty's somebody like, obviously, we're on here in New Orleans and talk a lot of New Orleans Saints. That's a team that has been kind of tied to him. I don't think there's any way, Bill, that he gets outside the top 10. I think when you look at the Raiders, they're going to take a long, hard look at him. I think the Saints, as I mentioned there, does Dallas want to make a move to add to their running game? I don't think that he's going to fall out of the top 10 picks, which for a running back now, that's news. Like, that is not the norm. Like, when you go top 10 as a running back, they expect you to not only be a starter, but to be one of the better backs in the league immediately.
Well, yeah, that, and not only that, but so I asked Mel Kiper this on a teleconference last week. I said, did Saquon and Derrick Henry, did they change the way that running backs are going to get drafted? He had a great point, though. He said, no, because those guys were kind of the missing piece. Saquon was the missing piece in the Super Bowl run. And, Derrick Henry, I would even argue, as you know, big Green Bay fan, Josh Jacobs kind of changed Green Bay a little bit, the way that they run their offense. So now with a rookie, it might be different. Ashton Genty, though, everything was special this year, and I think he's going to do that. I think Amarian Hampton is the guy I'm looking at. 2 straight years, 1,500 yards in the ACC. Had a decent but not great offensive line.
Yeah.
And from the people I talk to that are around that program, quiet, like just an all-ball guy that, maybe not. They say, maybe not the greatest interview to the media because he's not. But that doesn't ever bothers me. That's a guy that, I kind of like it when my running back's like that.
Yeah, I know EJ and I doing off campus every single day. He can't talk enough about him, and so I'm right there with you. I think he's certainly a first-round running back as well. One more draft question, because I do want to ask you something about LSU before we get out of here. Is Jackson Dart going to be a first-round pick at the quarterback position?
I think somebody will talk themselves into him because inevitably you'll see that next quarterback. Now, I like Kyle McCord a lot, which is, I think the year that he had at Syracuse was great and the experience. He did well at the Combine. But I think Jackson Dart, there are some, we saw him make some ridiculous throws at Ole Miss. And I think an NFL team could latch onto that. Maybe somebody later in the first round that maybe not necessarily looking for a guy to start right away could take a bite out of him. I thought the Jets would be drafted him, but then they, with Justin Fields, I don't know, but you could always draft a backup plan right away.
Yeah, he's one of those names that as we get closer and closer does feel like he is going to find himself to be a first-round pick. All right, Bill, last one before we let you go. LSU Tigers right now in spring practice. We know they open up in Little Death Valley with the Clemson Tigers, so marquee matchup, week number 1, yet again. What are your expectations for this LSU football team?
Boomer bust team, kind of. Coming off last year, I think Alabama and them projects very similar. The good news for LSU, quarterbacks coming back. Everybody knows that. Garrett Nussmeier. Schedule's tough, but with the talent that they brought in from the transfer portal, and they were more active than usual. At least I think they were. They definitely brought in a bunch of guys. And a big year for Brian Kelly. I think, Jacob, you need to sit down and schedule their opener, though. You guys got to stop with these marquee, glitzy, huge openers and just get a win to start. I mean, that is I'll have my eyes on it. Nussmeier Klubnik at Clemson. What a way to start the season. That'll be, if they win that one, certainly a lot of momentum and a great chip to have in your back pocket in a playoff race.
Yeah, look, you're not the only one in that mindset. Maybe a directional school U game to start the season. I'm a meathead, Bill, so I love the marquee matchups, but trust me when I say you're not the only one that has certainly brought that up. Bill, you're the man. I appreciate every conversation. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, anytime, Jacob. You have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, you as well. Bill Bender of The Sporting News at Bill Bender 92. As you can tell, he does it all for The Sporting News, college basketball, college football, NFL draft. Go check his work out again at The Sporting News. All right, we'll step away, close out hour number 1 of OTB when we jump back here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
All right, well, if you've got your porcelain anniversary coming up, that is anniversary number 18, and you've got to buy a gift, centralplumbing.org is the place to go. But all jokes aside, they truly are the place to go for any kind of remodel, no matter if it's at your home, if it's at your business, if it's a big job, if it's a small job, if it's, a complete revamp. Like if you want to go new vanity, new shower, new tiles, new everything, they are the place to go. But even if it is, hey, we just want to focus on this one part right now, they can do all of that, right? Go to centralplumbing.org to see examples of it. If you want to go tankless today with a tankless water heater, never run out of hot water again, they can get that hooked up for you. And if you have an emergency, it is 365, 24/7, weekend, holiday, game day, 225-925-8552 is that number. Not just in Central, in all the greater Baton Rouge area, centralplumbing.org.
Dealers today.
Springtime in Louisiana means crawfish, and there's no better place to get fresh, juicy crawfish than Rouse's Markets. They've got it live or hot from the pot from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Let Rouse's bring you the best mud bugs straight from the bayou to your table. Whether you're hosting a big boil or just craving a taste of Louisiana, Rouse's is boiling over with the best crawfish deals in town. Call ahead to your local Rouse's location to check supplies and availability. Rouse's Markets, official supermarket of the Saints.
Spring into savings at Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. For the month of March, get up to $150 back when you buy a set of 4 select Toyo tires. Plus, get free installation, a $118 value when you use your Shawbill's credit card. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to shop Toyo tires and for complete offer details. Shawbill's, we keep you rolling. Offer valid March 1st through the 31st. Void where prohibited, subject to credit approval.
Whether you're talking lunch or dinner, P.F. Chang's has got you covered. Upscale ambiance, top-notch service, and an Asian-inspired meal leaving everyone happy. You know where to find them. In Town Center off of Corporate Boulevard, look for the giant golden horse. It's P.F. Chang's.
Looking to buy, build, or refinance a home? At GMFS Mortgage, we make it easy because we're local. Our underwriting and processing happens right here in the Baton Rouge office. That means faster approvals, smoother closings, and real people who understand your needs. For over 26 years, we've helped our neighbors in Louisiana achieve the dream of home ownership. Visit GMFSmortgage.com to get started today. We are GMFS Mortgage, your local lender.
GMFS. NMLS number 64997 is an equal housing lender. Mortgages originated at 7389 Florida Boulevard, Suite 200A, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70806.
Taste of Mid-City, Baton Rouge's premier benefit food festival is back March 30th, presented by Franklin Associates and the Executive Center. This year, we're serving kids supporting Kids Orchestra, providing music education to over 1,400 kids annually. Help us raise funds to keep music education alive. Don't miss Giving Day, your chance to donate and win awesome prizes from local businesses. Get your tickets, grab your limited edition t-shirt while supplies last. TasteofMidCityBR.com.
Jake and James of Trash Rangers. How does $13.95 a month for residential trash pickup sound to you? Go to TrashRangers.com for all the info and make the switch today. That's TrashRangers.com.
Get to know the advanced
That's why we
turnaround
partnered
group.
with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews.
Welcome to the 7th ranked morning sports show in America. Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in, OTB. Big voice lady, I swear if I ever meet you, we're going to have a talking. I like the way you say 7th. Like, it's disappointing. I mean, morning shows are across this country.
There's a lot.
A lot. Probably, let's see. I would guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would guess at least 6, 7 in this state alone, right? Shreveport's got one. I know my brother's on it. Monroe, Alexandria has us.
Yeah.
So that doesn't count. Lake Charles, Lafayette. Does New Orleans have a morning show?
New Orleans doesn't have a sports thing.
That's true.
That's sad.
I'm sure the Bayou's got one.
Professional teams.
Yeah, wait. That whole deal.
Yeah.
We got to find a way to get back. We got to find a way to get back
Well,
because
that's above
what
my
are
pay
we
grade.
doing? No, it's way above mine. All right, welcome back in. As I said, LSU Baseball not the only team to take down the Raging Cajuns. Softball did it as well. They go over to Lafayette and they win 11-4. They continue to roll. We talked about it. They go on the road. They take 2 of 3 from number 13 Georgia. That's what you want to do in the SEC on the road. And now they get to come back home to Tiger Park to take on number 10 South Carolina because it's an SEC softball series. So, of course, the team that you play is going to have a number next to their name. They're going to be a ranked opponent. So, another opportunity for Beth Tarina and the squad to continue to improve. They're number 3 in the country. I mean, I know we've said it, and they've been good. I mean, this is a program that has been good, but this one still feels different. And there was like people that were upset, they lost on the weekend. And when you go on the road to number 13 and you take 2 of 3, that's your objective, right? Sweeps in SEC baseball and softball, if you get one, man, those are lagniappe. 2 of 3. Certainly on the road.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Well, also, like, they got run ruled in the last game of that series. Sidney Berzon was on the mound and just did not have it. Sidney Berzon always has it.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen week in and week out. She's going to be fine there. You have Jaden Heavner. This team hits 1 through 9, which is very rare for any college team, but especially softball. Like, this team doesn't really have a weakness. Like, if you ask me right now, what's the weakness of this team? I don't know if I can give you one. Because even replacing a player like Taylor Pleasance, who was your shortstop for, it seemed like 5 years and was a stalwart defensively, they brought in Avery Hodge from the transfer portal. She's been excellent at shortstops. I mean, just every single position, having Danica Coffey, who, let's not forget, LSU was undefeated.
Yeah.
Undefeated, dominating people. Danica Coffey goes down, they really struggle. They had to do 2 or 3 freshmen at third base. She was also your leadoff hitter. Having her back, I mean, that's huge. If this team could stay healthy, they can go as far as they want to.
Yep, right there with you. And again, that is South Carolina. That is Friday. That's at Tiger Park. And first pitch is going to be at 5 p.m. And again, great opponent, LSU, number 3 in the country, going against number 10. So go out there and win the series. Something else that came across the wire a little bit later last night. And, well, if you're a team looking for a receiver, there's one more off the board. Stephon Diggs agrees to a 3-year, $69 million deal with the Patriots. Tate, I hope I didn't steal your NFL story of the day. I saw this because, well, I mean, if you want to know, so the Saints signed Brandon Cook, and I'm going to tie it back to the Saints. Well, if you wanted a guy like Diggs, it was going to cost you more than the 2 years, $13 million Brandon Cook signed for. 3 years, $69 million. Seems like a lot of money. I mean, we're talking 30. What was the final guaranteed number? I have to go back. 26 million. I thought it was 36. 26 million. Still, even at that number, that's a big number for a receiver. That Tate, he's been on the other side of it for a couple of years.
Yeah, he has. And I mean, he was hurt 70% of the season last year. He barely played. If you're the Patriots, though, first off, you waited too long in free agency. You had to get some sort of receiver. I mean, Kendrick Bourne's been their number 1 receiver for the past, 2 years or so. As good as Drake May looked at times last year, maybe they're thinking, hey, we can bring in a veteran. He could still give us a little something. It's at least a number 1 option for Drake May. I mean, that's a lot of money to pay for a receiver, but I don't really know what other option they had.
Kayshawn, I mean, actually had a pretty decent year.
Kayshawn had a good year, but they're not going to take a receiver at 4 either. I don't imagine. So, I don't know what else they could have done.
Yeah, I bring it up, one, because I think it's a lot of money for a receiver that's been injured, and also to kind of give you an example, if you're a Saints fan, of just what that kind of receiver is going to cost.
Michael Thomas is available.
Sure. YourGoodwood.com is the website, YourGoodwood.com. If you're looking right now, just know you don't need to settle. Don't live life with that embarrassment. Go to the website today. Full list of services. Schedule your appointment today. YourGoodwood.com. Hour 2 coming your way.
Off the bench.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
By Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. here on Wednesday, March 26th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect cloudy skies with a high of 82. In hour 3 of today's show, we'll be guest heavy, including LSU defensive coordinator Blake Baker at 8:15. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Hey, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Very excited, as always, to welcome on our next guest, Connor O'Gara. Saturday Down South joins us now. Connor, hope you're doing well, sir.
Doing really well. I do love this time of year, even as a football guy. Like, there's just nothing to me that quite compares with the excitement in the NCAA tournament. So I'm in a good place, despite the fact that there's just basically no spring football anymore.
I know. That was going to be my first question because, like, over on Saturday Down South right now, normally we'd have like a ton of football, and football would kind of be even leading the way during March Madness. But with the way spring football is kind of approached now, and also like when you have a league that you cover that 14 of the 16 teams make the postseason, 7 of the 16 left are from the conference, I get why it is going to be the lead story, but there's not a lot of football that's peeking through because, like, spring practice, it's treated differently, like, kind of everywhere now. I mean, we got Pete Golding out there throwing touchdowns at practice now for Ole Miss, their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's about all we can get, and I'll take the random videos like that, and I'll take content like Kirby Smart like calling out his team and basically saying the freshmen aren't, living up to the standard. And, that gives us something to be able to talk about. But yeah, I mean, it'd be foolish for me to sit here and break down Auburn's inside linebackers when the SEC is making history, on the hardwood. And that's something that I think feels like a little bit of a shift in mindset. And obviously the great question is, what does it look like when it's not peak basketball time? If we're talking about the basketball versus football debate in the SEC, and how's that going to look moving forward? It's all right. Well, what are we talking about when it's the beginning of June? Like, what are the conversations that we're focusing on? And the vast majority of the time, it's still going to be about football. It's still going to be debating things like quarterback rankings. We're going to be talking about coaches on the hot seat, who's going to have a breakout year. That's just the way that the ebbs and flows of this calendar works in the SEC still. But it does feel like such a different sort of transition because, man, when I started doing this like 10 years ago, we had no interest whatsoever in talking about the NCAA tournament, talking really in depth about SEC basketball, and the quality of play has certainly changed our approach.
It has done that, and we'll get to the football portion of it, but you're right. You mentioned 10 years ago, that's really when the change happened. I can remember in 2014, SEC basketball was it was bad. It was bad. I just retired from the NFL just like you, so I got into this business during that year, and I can remember having conversations with our guy part-time Peter Burns, and it's like, man, we got to figure something out. Like, this is a bad product, and Greg Sankey was already on top of it, and he goes to the schools like, hey, y'all got to do more. You have to put more resources. You have to hire better coaches. You have to make this a priority. And so they started to do that, and it's raised its level every single year, and now we're to this point where 7 of your teams are, like we said, in the Sweet 16 there. Commissioner Sankey has to just be sitting up, legs, propped up, listening to some YouTube, big smile on his face, just enjoying all of this because he challenged every school, and now here you are.
Yeah, it really kind of speaks to what, he has been preaching for forever, that, 6 of the top 12 highest paid coaches in college basketball are in the SEC.
Yeah.
Coaches are what turned this around. When SEC football began its run of dominance with 2006, 2012, 7 consecutive national title winners from the conference, 4 different schools, you might have known a thing or two about that. There was this feeling of, Nick Saban is there now. Well, Nick Saban was the rising tide that lifted all boats, pun intended, because the coaching got so much better in the SEC at that time. And that was the only thing that was really going to change the way that college basketball was approached in the SEC. And now you're seeing coaches that, are a bit older, and it is weird to be talking about coaches on the other side of 65, a Rick Barnes, John Calipari, a Bruce Pearl, who are having this unbelievable success and doing so in a place that, let's be honest, used to be an afterthought. Like, I grew up in the Big Ten part of the country, and I'm a Big Ten graduate. SEC basketball to me as a kid meant nothing, absolutely nothing. I was like, that's just what they do and to fill time until football starts. And that has obviously changed that conversation. The fact that so many people are rooting against the SEC outside of the SEC footprint and wanting the conference to look fraudulent in the NCAA tournament, that just shows you how far this conference has come.
Yeah, and they were pretty excited whenever Xavier beat Texas, and then Gonzaga was putting it on UGA, and you log on and you see all the narratives already starting, and they might have jumped the gun a little bit too early on that one, Connor.
Yeah, big time. I mean, look, there were going to be 13 SEC teams that lost in this tournament. Like, I hate to spoil it for everybody, but there were going to be at least 13, maybe
Does Carl
even 14.
Ravage know that?
Does Carl Ravage? I don't know. know. Someone might need to tell him that. 500 record in conference play. That's going to be the expectation when you're only playing conference teams. But that's still going to be what defines the SEC this year. We can talk all we want about, 3 teams in the Elite Eight or whatever, and maybe they're going to have 2 in the Final Four. If an SEC team isn't cutting down the nets for the first time since 2012, it's a problem, and it's going to hurt the brand of SEC basketball. Yeah. And it's not necessarily going to live up to this unbelievable regular season, and so far the first part of the postseason that it's had. And so you could say, that's maybe a bit unfair. Matchups are going to determine this thing. who knows if Duke is, the team that is just, heads and shoulders above the rest of the competition. Maybe a team like Michigan State is going to be the last one standing that's outside of the SEC. But, we're going to move past these things, and we're not necessarily going to break down the fact that the non-SEC teams that are left in the Sweet 16 are 4-10 against the SEC. Nobody's going to care about that if the SEC doesn't ultimately win a national championship this year.
Catching up with our guy, Connor O'Gara, Saturday down south. And I know, look, it's what it is. I mean, the spring practice stuff, there's just not what there used to be out there. But as we kind of know these rosters now, and we have to figure out how these transfers are going to implement themselves into whichever team that they decided to go into. And right now, we don't know that information. And so, we're kind of going into like media days a little bit blind compared to where we used to be, where we kind of knew what the roster was. But just like a general question on the teams that you expect to break out, teams that need to break out, teams that, you kind of see maybe even taking a step back. Like, where are you at with some of the big dogs in the SEC?
I'm going to be interested to see how many of these teams in the SEC go after a big-time receiver in the post-spring transfer portal window. I think that's going to be the next big storyline to kind of follow, because the quarterback market, look, if you're a quarterback, you're going into the portal post-regular season. You just have to. The previous history at the position suggests as such. Even, I don't have to remind LSU fans, even Joe Burrow, post-spring transfer, is still very limited what he was able to do after pretty much he comes into camp, in fall, and you kind of have to figure things out on the fly. But, yeah, that's going to be the really fascinating discussion, is how many of these teams in the SEC are paying big, big top dollar to go after that top flight receiver. I think there's going to be big time tampering. I think there are going to be teams like Florida, like Texas A&M, maybe even a team like Alabama that's going into the portal going, buddy, we need help, and we need it in a hurry. Now, not everybody was fortunate enough to do what LSU did by revamping the pass catcher spots in the portal and getting some of those guys, being early on the likes of Nick Anderson and Barryon Brown, and having the ability to go out and get those guys early. There were a lot of teams that were kind of, in a tough spot. What's this guy going to do? What's that guy going to do? I think that's going to be a really fascinating storyline to watch, because I think people have realized everybody needs receiver help. Everybody. Yeah. And if you're not going after that position in the portal, I think you're only hurting yourself.
Last one before we let you go, Connor. You're sitting there talking about maybe some needs of some different teams, teams that lost a lot. I was looking at Ole Miss yesterday, and we just talked about Jackson Dart maybe being a first-round pick, and he was a quarterback there. Gosh, I mean, it just seemed like he was there for so long, and he was so steady. He got better every single year. Him and Lane Kiffin had a great relationship. Is that a team that you can see taking a step back just because of everything they lose, not only on talent but leadership as well?
I'll be stunned if Ole Miss doesn't take a step back. I really will be. And I like Austin Simmons a lot, and I don't necessarily just put that on what he did in relief of Jackson Dart in that Georgia game. Mm-hmm. The fact that Austin Simmons delivered the biggest drive of Ole Miss's season is pretty impressive to think back on. But I do think defensively, how are they not going to regress? With all due respect to Pete Golding, sneaky athletic Pete Golding, as we found out from spring practice, look at the dudes that they lost up front, man. Like Jared Ivey, J.J. Pegues, Walter Nolan, Princely Uman-Mielen. Like, they are going to be in a really, really tough spot this year with avoiding that defensive regression, because at Ole Miss, the defensive floor can be low when Lane Kiffin is your head coach. And we've seen that in the past. Yeah. And they were unbelievably good last year. And they're losing, we're going to look up and be like, oh, my gosh, look at South Carolina and Ole Miss, how many defensive players they're having come off the board early in the NFL draft. So I do think that they're a team that, even if Austin Simmons is awesome, as we know from LSU a couple of years ago, you can have an unbelievable breakout quarterback and still be, sitting in a spot where you're winning 8-9 games because your defense just isn't there.
God, damn you, Madhouse. Damn you, Madhouse.
Man.
I know. Well, on that note, Connor, that one, too soon. It will always be too soon. Hey, I appreciate your time, sir. Always look forward to our conversations, and you know how this works. We'll do it again soon.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, Connor O'Gara, Saturday down south, good enough to join us here. We'll step away now, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by the LSU defensive coordinator, Blake Baker, right here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to PelicanRoof.com. PelicanRoof.com. Pelican Roofing is really the only place to go, man. It is South Louisiana's most trusted roofing expert. And if you don't believe me, which you should, wouldn't lead you astray there, but look at the reviews. And it's right there on the homepage of PelicanRoof.com. 4.9 on Facebook, 4.8 on Google with over 500 reviews, 5.0 on Yelp. I mean, it is right there. You can trust that Pelican Roofing is going to get the job done, and they're going to get the job done the first time. And that's in Lafayette and also in Baton Rouge. And so that's important to remember. They're not just driving back and forth. They are in both communities. They are there. They are vested in the communities. You'll see them all over the place, right? And so know that you're working with somebody that is in the community, somebody that the community means something to. Go to the website today to get everything scheduled, PelicanRoof.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, where the takes are hot and the sports talk is questionable.
All right, welcome back in. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Very excited for our next guest. It is our guy, Blake Baker, the LSU defensive coordinator. Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for hopping on with us this morning.
I appreciate you having me, Jacob. How we doing?
We're doing well. Hey, how's that wing doing? I felt so bad. Last time I saw you, I forgot about it, and I did the classic meathead thing. I hit you right on the back, probably where it hurt the worst.
Oh, man, you're not the only one. It's my own fault. I need to put like a big stop sign on my shoulder, but it's doing good, man. I probably have more range of motion than I had at any point last season, so it's getting there.
Oh, man, those shoulders playing linebacker and fullback, I don't know that they ever fully get re-healed, but glad you finally got that fixed and, still trying to continue fixing the LSU defense. Big steps last year, Coach, but how much different is it, I guess, this year and this spring now that, look, everybody knows you, they know the expectation. You got a lot of the same staff members. Does year number 2 feel different than year number 1?
Yeah, I think, like you talked about, a lot of consistency in the staff. And then, even though we brought in a few guys in the portal, majority of the defense has already been through it one time. And so they know the expectation, just recall from calls, how we fit certain things. We like to be multiple on defense. So sometimes It's hard to get everything taught through a spring and through a fall camp as far as what you might see on any given Saturday. So it's definitely been, I would say, much smoother from that standpoint as far as getting everybody aligned in the same direction. And then again, with the additions that we made, I think we brought in a lot of mature and hungry guys. So it's been a fun spring so far.
Coach, obviously, when you and I were playing college football, there wasn't a ton of transfers. My entire career, we might have had like 2 transfers come in, come out, probably the same situation for you when you were playing, but now it is the norm, and now you do have roster turnover. So that's just something that everybody's kind of used to. But when you bring somebody in, like, what is that process like? Do you try to get, maybe a leader to kind of show them the ropes? Do you try to put them in certain groups like, hey, take care of this guy, show him Baton Rouge, show him LSU, tell him what we're all about? Like, what's kind of the steps you take whenever somebody new, because it oftentimes is an older player who's already, known one culture at another place, and now he's got to learn this culture.
Yeah, I think some of it happens organically. I think some guys, I'll use a Jack Pyburn, for example. I think it didn't matter what program he went to. He's a take the bull by the horns kind of guy, and he's going to lead straight out of the gate, where some guys take a little longer to adjust. But the one thing that we talk about is making sure that, they're comfortable, and whatever that means, whether it's us as coaches, spending extra time with them, making sure that we try to pair them up with guys that we think, that they'll get along with. And the quicker they're comfortable, the quicker they're going to, be the best version of themselves on the football field. So I would say it's not just a standard operating procedure, cookie cutter, like this is what we're going to do. I think each guy you got to treat differently, and each guy that transfers in is sometimes in different stages of their career. Some guys, I call it their contract year. They're coming in for their senior year, and some guys happen to be younger. So I think you got to handle it case-by-case basis.
You mentioned Jack there, and you know this about me, Coach. Meathead is a term of endearment for me. Like, I am a card-carrying member of Meathead Nation. Jack is as well. Like, I saw the interview. Is Whit Weeks or Wes Weeks mad that he might be the most meathead on the team?
They like to compete for it, man. So I don't think, honestly, those are 3 guys that hit it off right away, because all 3 of them are meatheads, and they're like you and I. They like accepting that role. They don't take it as an insult when you call them a meathead. But I think there's something to be said for that. I think, again, when you talk about building a defense in particular, and probably a team in general, you don't want 100 of the same guys, right? You want guys with different personalities. But those guys have all pushed each other. They're all best friends off the field. They're competing, for the same goal in mind. So it's been fun to watch.
And, Coach, kind of staying with the linebacker position, with the Weeks brothers, and you also talk about Devon Keys. You've got guys that have kind of played multiple positions. Devon Keys is playing star sometimes a year ago and actually did really well. And we think of the star position as maybe it's a safety, but he goes in there as a linebacker and does really, really well. We saw him not only in the bowl game where he has the interception for a touchdown, but you go back to the Florida game. He had key moments in this year. And so, is that a player that maybe got accelerated a little bit a year ago, but now you're going to be counting on him this upcoming season?
Oh, very much so. We laugh all the time now. He was an early enrollee, and and we were so deep at the beginning, going back to last spring and even at the beginning of last year, he really didn't get a lot of reps. And a big credit to him as far as staying in the playbook and not losing sight, because, as a freshman especially, man, that can be hard. Your first time away from home, you're coming, you're ambitious, you want to set the world on fire. And there was days he maybe got 5, 3, 4 reps a day in spring. But it never deterred him as far as staying with it, staying in the playbook. And, as coaches, you talk all the time about you never know when your number's going to be called. But last year at linebacker in particular, that definitely held true with West having the red shirt, with Perk going down, with, Witt even going down in the bowl game. But he's a guy, him and West, we're rotating on positions pretty much every single day in the spring between Mike and Will, man, and they have done an outstanding job. And a lot of that's just to provide position flexibility so we don't, bind like we did last year. And both of those guys are taking heed to it and really been studying the playbook, because it's not easy to flip positions every single day. And I'm really proud of those two guys.
Catching up with LSU defense coordinator Blake Baker here on OTB. You mentioned Perk there as well. We know Witt's been out with injury, and we've seen some of the videos of him working out. And I know you and Harold Perkins have a great relationship. Remember talking with you about that last offseason, how much film y'all watched together. Kind of where is he at now as far as his mindset and maybe what you see his future looking like in the fall?
Man, Perk is extremely locked in, and I said this when it happened, and I didn't mean it in a negative light, but in some ways, being hurt might have been the best thing that ever happened to him. Kind of just sit back, let the game unfold from a mental standpoint in front of him. But the attention to detail, the work that he's putting in with Jack Marucci downstairs with the VR, obviously not being able to get the physical reps on the field, he could easily, take it easy and just come to the hour film meeting that we do every single day, and that'd be it. But he's going above and beyond and answering questions, and he's extremely locked in. So I think he's gonna have a big year next year, and I don't want to put. I think part of the problem, in my opinion, has been the expectation that's been put on him, and obviously with a player that talent and that caliber, we still got to remember that he's 20 years old or whatever he is. So, but I do think he's going to have an outstanding season. I think he's really focused, and I think between him and West and Devon and Witt and some of these Ty Singletons coming along, and then we get 3 more freshmen, I think they're all gonna complement each other really, really well. So I don't think the onus is going to be on, here's Harold Perkins, he's the star of the defense. I think we have a lot of really, really good players in that room that feed off of each other, make each other better.
Yeah, and you mentioned a little bit earlier, Coach, bringing some new faces in to help with that. And I mean, we could go name for name, and Cooley coming over and Peyton coming over and all these different names, but like all the players that have come over, like maybe kind of how they integrated themselves, because we're talking about seniors. We're talking about fifth-year seniors. We're talking about guys that have been dudes in other places now trying to help this LSU defense. What are some of the things you've seen from that group of players, those veteran players that have come over from the portal?
Man, they're about their business, man. They come in, they work. There's not a lot of talking as far as in between plays. They're just. They put their head down and they grind, man. They're blue-collar guys that have really, really, in my opinion, they've really helped our culture. And we talk about spring being about independent player development. Like, we're not worried about who goes out there with the ones, who goes out there with twos. We switch that up daily as far as in within the day. One period, it might be Jamari and Jack out there, and then the next day it might be Pat and Gabe Relaford. So I think they're an unselfish group. Like I said, a lot of them, it is their I think half of them probably is their last year. So they just want to win. Yeah. And to me, sometimes you got to be careful that in the recruiting process when you're bringing in transfers. Some guys can be mercenaries where they're all about themselves, and this group is not that at all. They're all about LSU football. They're all about winning a championship and hard-working, unselfish, blue-collar guys. So I think they've added to our culture, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I mean, you mentioned all those traits, and you also brought a coach in that has all those traits and cares about LSU, loves LSU. And unfortunately for me, I've had to deal with this human being since district play in high school football when we were in the same district. Luckily, we were teammates at LSU, but I got my welcome to LSU moment when I was running fullback belly, cut it backside, thought I had an open gap, and he clotheslined me. It was number 95, Kyle Williams. Then he goes and plays 1,000 years in the NFL. What's it been like getting Kyle Williams into the fold, now going to be working with that defensive line? I think we all know the mentality, and I know you know him as well coming in.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, when you talk about all, like we just talked about, all the traits that you look for in a player, you look for in a coach, extremely humble, and he played, like you said, he played 13 years or whatever it was in the NFL and has been an all-pro. But you'd never know it when you sit down and talk with him. He just wants to bring out the best in our guys, and I think that he's bringing out a little more attack, a little more vertical presence on the inside, which is what we want. And when we sat down and talked for the first time, I mean, shoot, I'm not a big phone guy. I know he's not a big phone guy. We sat there and talked for an hour and 45 minutes, and so we hit it off right away just from a personality standpoint. Then when we talk ball, we hit it off from a stylistic standpoint. And I think he gets the most out of our players. Even talking to some of the guys at Ruston beforehand, their strength coach at Ruston actually played for me at Louisiana Tech, and he said glowing things, and Kyle's lived up to it, man. He's been really, really fun to work with.
Yeah, I was really excited about that hire, just, being his teammate, knowing what he's all about. I think he's doing a fantastic job already, going to continue to do that. All right, Coach, before we get you out of here, the chat wants to know something. You talk about not wanting to have poodles. You said no poodles. Don't want any poodles over here. T-Bob's out sick today. Would you consider that a poodle?
Absolutely, man. There's no reason to miss talking on the radio. They got cough drops, T-Bob. I hope you're listening, and I'm thoroughly disappointed. I did not expect that type of behavior out of you, but we'll get you over here, get you some plate pushes, man, and get you fixed right back up.
That's exactly what I needed to hear. Coach, you're the man. I appreciate it. I'll actually see you in a couple hours over there at Pro Day. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. See you, Jacob. I appreciate you having me, man.
All right, there he is, LSU defensive coordinator Blake Baker, good enough to join us there. We had to do it. We had to do it. When y'all brought that up, I was like, oh, we have to do it. We got to get that sound bite.
I can't wait to pull that clip and show T-Bob.
I know.
Hopefully tomorrow.
He's going to be disappointed in us.
He is, because he loves Blake Baker.
I know he loves Blake.
Yeah, he's going to throw a fit.
I know he is. We love you, T. We're sorry.
Don't be a poodle.
We just don't be a poodle.
I'm waiting. He's going to be like, guys, did y'all not see me on Tuesday? I couldn't have made it.
I know. And look, I've taken a sick day. I took one after the Super Bowl. Maybe.
Yeah.
Now, Alondra's the too gritty to be pretty. She was drowning last week. I mean, she sounded like she was underwater talking.
Y'all kept checking on me every segment. I'm just I don't know. It's getting progressively worse.
Oh, man. Oh, so
it's
yeah,
fine.
We love you, T. Just don't be a poodle.
Don't be a poodle.
All right. We will step away. Want to react to some of what Blake Baker said there. Certainly a lot of great stuff there. Transfer portal, Kyle Williams, Harold Perkins, a lot of stuff to break down, a lot of stuff to get into, and we'll do that when we jump back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Alondra, it doesn't sound like you're fully healed yet with that cough. Getgordon.com is the website, and you can really do it all there. I mean, you can have a chat with them right there on the homepage. As soon as you log in, it's going to pop up, hey, how can we help you today? Remember, you can get that free consultation set up on the website as well. You also can go to a full list of cases they can handle for you. You can go to past client results as well. All that information is going to be right there on getgordon.com. Now, also remember on social media, the handle at getgordon. So they've always got something going on in your local community throughout the state of Louisiana. You can find all that information, again, by searching for Get Gordon, putting that handle into whatever social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. Also, if you're in Louisiana, doesn't matter where you're at, you pick up the phone, you put your area code followed by 888-8888, Get Gordon, and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com. Sirens ring, shots ring out. A stranger cries.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
Strapped against my back. I held my hands, never knew how to act.
I'm just letting this breathe. There's nothing I'm looking for or anything. I really enjoy this song. Taylor, can you tell me the lead singer of Wallflowers?
Michael Wall.
All right.
Tanner Flowers.
Alondra.
Jacob Dylan.
Yes.
That was my third guess.
Taylor.
Jacob with a K.
Jacob with a K, yes.
Yeah.
I used to think that was the... No. I thought that was cool.
Jacob with
when
a
I was
K.
growing up, I thought that was cool. Can you tell me Jacob's father?
Is it Bob?
There you go.
Context clues.
Yeah, I mean, that one.
That's why I'm trying not to say Dylan.
There you go. It's like that one.
All right.
Great song.
Great song. This kind of falls back into my like, hey, the Wallflowers are like
They're
really big.
amazing.
Like, what? Where in the world? What are they doing now? Blake Baker just joined us, LSU defensive coordinator. Anything stand out to y'all? What was there's a lot of great stuff in there, a lot of great insight. Anything stand out more than others to y'all?
Yeah, his complimenting of Harold Perkins. Look, I'm not saying that we've ever heard anything negative about Harold Perkins' work ethic, but it's very easy to come in as a 5-star, have a lot of success early on, and when things don't go your way, you can just kind of sit around and mope about it. He's had, 2 injuries here, in back-to-back seasons, but he's talked about all the extra work that Harold Perkins has put in, all the side things that he's doing that he's not required to do. He's doing that just because he wants to. Because, I mean, think about it. Blake Baker has said, look, we're going to move him to the star position full-time, so he's kind of learning a new spot, at least full-time. I mean, he had played there a little bit. The fact that, kind of unprovoked mentioned Harold Perkins and brought out his work ethic, that was big for me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought so as well. It is wild, the career that Perks had. I mean, his freshman year, one of the best in the country, right? It fit for that defense. And then, you're trying to find where he is going to live. And again, I know a lot of people want to see him on the edge. He can be there some. He cannot live there. That is not where he just – trust me when I say I've talked to SEC head coaches that went against him when he was playing more edge than not, and they were running right at him. And that's okay. Like, that's not what he's built to be, right? I mean, even Micah Parsons falls into some of that in the NFL, right? If you want to try to have a comp for Perk. Star position is going to be great for him. It's somewhat he can cover. His coverage grades on Pro Football Focus were incredibly high when he played the star position. I would assume Blake Baker is going to bring him off the edge still, because remember how many times we see Major Burns off the edge last year? Well, that's going to be Harold Perkins this year. So you'll still get that portion of him. You got to get him healthy, though, before anything. And so Harold Perkins being healthy, Whit Weeks being healthy, that's something certainly that LSU is going to focus on as they head into summer training. Alondra, anything for you stand out?
I just love that he confirmed that T-Bob's a poodle. I can't get over that. But no, I know that Taylor, he really, it's not that there's questions on his work ethic, but there have been a little bit of questions on Harold Perkins, in general. So the praise for him is pretty big coming from someone like Blake Baker. But Blake Baker just generally impresses me every single time he talks. He's just a very smart person, and I don't know. I just love Blake Baker. I don't think anybody better could be in that role.
Yeah, I'm excited for year number 2. Year number 1, you try to implement, hey, here's who we are, but here's who we need to be. Here's who we're going to be. He mentioned Pyburn there and coming in with his attitude. His attitude is what I think of when I think of Blake Baker.
Yeah.
And that's why, and Blake knows this about me, I am A-okay. Being a meathead it's not a joke. It's not a shtick. That is a term of endearment for me. You have to have a handful of meatheads on your team, and he's got some. And that's how he played. That's how he coaches. It is all grit. Don't care who gets the glory. We're going to go out there. It's going to be balls to the wall, and we're going to give you everything we have. It is the old Dan Campbell, right? We're going to bite you in the kneecaps.
Yeah, and I love that.
I do too. And some people, it's not for them. Some people can't handle that.
Yeah.
I want all of it.
Yeah.
Right? I want that mixed with, the guys that they brought in to be off the edge.
Yeah.
Mixed with Cooley from North Carolina State, mixed with whoever, right? You have to have a portion of that on your defense. Certainly when your defensive coordinator has that as kind of his mindset. So, I'm looking forward to it. Is there questions? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Who's going to play safety? We got to find out. Who's going to be your best edge rusher? We got to find out. Who's going to be the tandem in the middle as far as defensive tackle? We got to find out. You got a lot of candidates at inside linebacker. I feel really good about that position, but who's going to be the main two? We got to figure that out, right? So there's still questions. There's still concerns. But with who they brought in, you pair that with Blake Baker, with his mindset, what he wants to get done, year number 2 compared to year number 1, this defense is going to be better. They are going to be better. Last year's defense, didn't explode, didn't implode on themselves and just, have those Ole Miss moments. But Blake knows that it's going to continue to get better. So I'm excited about it. Still have things they've got to figure out. Still have to figure out a couple of different positions. I love adding Kyle Williams, Bo Davis. Bo Diddley's my guy as well. Bo didn't want to do college football anymore. Bo wanted to go to the NFL. So Kyle Williams is somebody I've got the utmost respect for. I think he's one of the best players I ever played with, right? And I know his mindset. I know what he said in front of the team when he was a player. He was like a coach on the field. I love bringing in Kyle Williams, and you heard Blake Baker talk about that as well. So enjoyed that. Always enjoy catching up with Blake, and I definitely did. He had just had, I think it was either labrum or rotator surgery, because all linebackers from the early 2000s have had it at some point, and I gave him one of the good old, like, what's up, coach?
Oh, no.
Big
on
pat
the
on the
back.
back.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man, I felt awful.
Yeah.
I was that guy.
Yeah, he was probably like
And he was
trying to
he was
grit
trying
his
to
teeth.
like
Yeah.
if he'd have punched me, I'd have understood.
I do love that he said that Whit and Jack kind of compete over who's the more meathead.
Yes. The West too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Look, you can't have a team full of them. You can't have 11 of them out there. But man, I need 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I need 3 or 4 of
You've
those
hit
guys.
your limit.
You've
hit your
limit.
psycho white boy limit.
You've hit your psycho white
You
boy
may
meathead
have,
limit.
you may have hit your limit with the coaching staff as well.
Yeah,
You're talking about
that's
Blake
true.
Baker. Like,
Yeah.
guys, Kyle Williams is the epitome of that. Like, anybody that watched Kyle in the NFL, like, that's Kyle to a T.
I'm not kidding, man. I had to go against Kyle in high school. Like, he's been that.
Yeah.
Kyle's always been that.
He was a senior when you got there, right?
No, he's a junior.
He was a junior?
We played 2 years together here, yeah. Because he was a senior when I was a sophomore. When he was at Ruston, I was at Evangel, yeah. All right, we'll step away. Coach Matt McCall, SiriusXM Field of 68, will join us to talk a little NCAA tournament. We'll have that for you when we come back. It is OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Back from the break, where the sports talk gets real. Kinda. Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Going to catch up with Coach Matt McCall. Talk a little NCAA tournament here in a second. It is not his fault. It is Chris Childers, the show pony's fault, because he's on with Full Ride on Sirius XM over on our channel 84. And I should have known the show pony was going to go long. Maybe even Neuheisel did. But we'll get Coach Matt McCall on here with us coming up. Until then, we can take a look at the brackets over there on the wall, even though Coach is coming in. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at mine right now, and gosh, it's doing well. But just seeing the Florida Gator logo next to my name just does not feel right. But our next guest is going to enjoy that, because not only was he an assistant coach for Florida, he's Florida through and through. He was the head coach at UT Chattanooga, UMass as well. I've got too many Gators in my life, and this man's one of them. Coach Matt McCall, what's up, brother?
Hester, don't forget, son of a Florida Gator linebacker.
I know.
The greatest linebacker in the history of the University of Florida's program. Not Brandon Spikes, not any of these guys.
Well, it ain't Brandon Spikes to me.
McCall, all right, number 38, Wayne McCall,
there you go.
captain of the defense, 1967. So, Hester, man, what's going on? I know we're here to talk some hoops, and it seems like the last time I've talked to you, we had like 18 other coaching changes, 18 other coaches get hired. So what's the word, man? I
mean, how different is that? I mean, you've been through this. You've been a head coach in multiple places, and you're right. It's like, hey, this job's open, this job's closed. I mean, Xavier's a job that you and I talked in length on Monday. Now Richard Pitino takes that job, and we weren't quite sure. I think we were talking Villanova when we brought his name up, but now he goes to Xavier, and he's going to go against Pops twice a year. Like, how about that move for them?
Yeah, it's a great move. In fact, I was just on with Childers and Neuheisel, and they were asking me about it. And, is it an upgrade for Richard? And it 100% is an upgrade. It's a funny story, and I'm not trying to bash New Mexico's program by any means, but I talked to Richard right after the Mountain West tournament, and 2 days after they had lost, he was walking around Las Vegas. And I said, what are you doing? He said, our Southwest flight was canceled. He's like, we got to wait on another one to come take us home. Are we flying commercial? He ain't flying commercial at Xavier. I can promise you that. He's not flying commercial to games. He's not flying commercial recruiting.
Yeah.
So really happy for him. When you lose your job, he gets let go at Minnesota. It puts a lot of things in perspective for you. And, you can become a better coach. You can become a better leader. And he's evident of that with the job that he did at New Mexico. So for him to be able to get a Big East opportunity, happy for him. I think it's a great hire for Xavier, and I think it's a great move for Richard. And like you said, we're going to get Patino on Patino.
Yep.
Hopefully more than twice next year, maybe even in the Big East tournament.
Yeah, that's a great point. Possibly could get it 3 times. Now, Coach, you were on the bench there for the Florida Gators winning national championships, and so SEC basketball to be played at a high level. But, I mean, what's going on right now is just ludicrous. 14 teams make the tournament, 7 in the Sweet 16. Like, how do you compare maybe when you were coaching in the SEC? Because it was really good at the time. I mean, LSU made a Final Four run in 2006. I mean, it wasn't just Florida. You know that. I mean, it was highly competitive. How do you compare that to now?
Well, look, you just said it. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be a part of 3 Final Fours. In 2006, us and LSU were both there. In 2014, us and Kentucky were both there. So, getting 2 teams from the SEC into both of those Final Fours. But when you look at the league from top to bottom, I think back in the 2006, 2007 era, the 2014 era, that time, you look at the bottom of the league, and the bottom of the league wasn't great, to where you're saying, okay, this is almost a guaranteed win. This is almost a guaranteed win. Like Auburn back in the day, it was like the jungle wasn't the jungle. I can promise you that. I mean, you go in there was nobody in those seats. And now you've got what I think was a good LSU team this year. I had them early on in the season, Matt McMahon and, Lamont Paris of South Carolina. Those are the only 2 teams that didn't make the NCAA tournament. Well, had this not been such a historic year, maybe those teams would have had an even better year, because both of them had some talent on those rosters. That's just how good this league is. To have 7 teams, 7, get to the Sweet 16, I mean, that obviously, I mean, do the math. Almost half the field right now left. So it's really remarkable. I think, we were joking around on the radio yesterday. if this Final Four ends up being at least 3 SEC teams, someone needs to get Greg Sankey one of those king chairs and just let him sit there on the court and feed him grapes and bring him wine and put a crown on his head and just let him wave to the crowd, because this is exactly what he wanted and he got it.
Yeah, I think between if that happens, baseball always being where it's at, gymnastics being where it's at, football certainly always being where it's at. I mean, we could go on softball being where it's at. Yeah, I think that would just be something you just go ahead and do, because you're right. Like, if you get 3 of the 4, that is exactly what he visioned back in 2014 when he said you have to make changes. Real quick, I know you know Matt McMahon a little bit there, and LSU is a place that wants to be good at basketball, and the fans want to be good at basketball. And certainly Kim Mulkey and the women's side of things, they've done exactly that. They've won national championship. They're in the Sweet 16 again. You had LSU, as you mentioned earlier in the year. Do you think it is something that can happen? Can LSU be the Missouri of this year, that you went winless in the SEC the year before, and then Mizzou makes a tournament?
Yeah, I think look, when the clock hits 0 for Matt McMahon and his staff, it's this is not time to head to the beach and drink a Corona. This is time to get to work. And with over 1,000 kids, think about that, Hester. There's 1,000 kids in the transfer portal right now. They need to attack it, and they need to attack it the right way, and not just get talented guys in there, but get some guys in there that fit his personality. Get some guys in there that are about the things that he's about, and guys that he can coach.
Yeah.
Go back to your days at Murray State and look at your rosters and look at the years that you had the best. Obviously Ja Morant was a terrific player. Cam Payne was a terrific player for those guys at Murray State. But there's also some high character guys there too, and that may be something that he and his staff need to look at of, hey, look, we're not just going to accumulate talent here. Who can Matt McMahon coach? Who does he do a great job coaching? And let's go find those guys. Let's go find them. Make sure we've got a healthy NIL budget, but let's go find them. It can be flipped in 1 year. I mean, Dusty May is 2 games removed, or 2 games from a Final Four, and Michigan program last year was in shambles when he took it over. That's the bottom line. And now all of a sudden he brings in the right guys. He gets a little bit of retention. He brings his big man with him, Vlad Golden, and they got a chance to get to a Final Four. So it can be done. I think it's a self-evaluation. And now that the portal's open, it's like, who can this guy coach? That is your job as an assistant coach, not to just bring him talented players. Who can he coach? Who reflects his personality as a coach? Go find those guys. And Matt McMahon, look, he's a good coach. He's proven it. He hasn't forgotten how to coach because he's had a couple bad years at LSU. He knows how to coach the game of basketball. It's just about surrounding him with the right players.
Coach Matt McCall, we're up against the clock. I blame the show pony and Coach Rick Neuheisel for taking too much of his time, but we appreciate your time, Coach. Are we on later today on 84?
I believe so.
Look at us.
So. We're going to talk even more.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. Coach, I appreciate your time as always, and I'll catch up with you here in a couple hours.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, there he is. Matt McCall does a great job for NBC, Field of 68, Sirius XM. Been a head coach at UMass, UT Chattanooga, and was an assistant there for the back-to-back national championships at Florida. All right, we will step away. Hour number 3, we're going to kick off with a little D1 baseball. Kendall Rogers talking LSU.
Off the bench.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Today and save $8,500 off MSRP on new 2024 F-150 and F-250 models. We're even discounting SUVs. Save huge with $12,000 off MSRP on new 2024 Expeditions. And as always, no unexpected fees. Truck Month is on at Robinson Brothers Ford. Excludes TT&L registration, insurance, and dealer dock fees. Cash from dealer and Ford. Ends 3/31/2025.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. here on Wednesday, March 26th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect cloudy skies with a high of 82. In hour 3 of today's show, Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball hops on at 9 a.m. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch it in the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3, OTB 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm talking a little LSU baseball here as they get set for their series against Mississippi State. It's going to be in the box. Remember, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. And let's talk a little LSU baseball, SEC baseball. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, joins us now. Kendall, always a pleasure, man. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing awesome, man. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. And before we maybe get into some of the nitty-gritty, overall takes, I guess, in the SEC after a couple of weekends, maybe some surprises, positive, negative surprises you've seen so far?
Well, I mean, had you told me that Florida and A&M would be a combined 0-12 in the SEC, I probably would have thought you were on crazy pills or something. But that obviously would be the negative surprise. I think the positive surprise for me would be, I think Tennessee's probably a little bit better than I thought. I mean, they look like a juggernaut yet again. I thought they actually entered the season with a few question marks. They've been awesome. And, LSU has kind of been what we thought they would be, which is a really good team. And then the other team for me is Georgia. I think we would all agree, like, you being as an LSU guy, like, I think when Wes Johnson got that job, I think we all thought Wes was a really good pitching coach, right? But, like, his personality was kind of like, man, that's kind of an interesting hire as a head coach. But I'm not sure I saw what Georgia's doing this year, or frankly what they even did last year, coming at all. I mean, their offense has been phenomenal. I think it's been since like March 11th that they haven't scored at least 8 runs in a game. They've been awesome. And so Georgia just being absolutely dominant has certainly been a positive surprise for me. They've been just terrific.
Yeah, and going back, you're right about A&M and Florida. I mean, A&M, we all know the expectation coming into the season. I mean, everyone just across the country thought this was going to be one of the best teams in the country, not just the SEC. What has gone so wrong for Texas A&M?
Yeah, I think it's kind of twofold. I think one, obviously, maybe that's whether it's us, Coaches Bowl, other outlets. Maybe we discounted this a little bit too much, but I mean, there's been an adjustment period for Michael Early. I mean, when you look at some of his decisions late in the game, and I think I might have said this on Matt's show coming into the season, is the biggest question mark for me was how does he manage late in games? And so far this year, it has not been great. But their issues are way deeper than that. I mean, if you look at their offense, even with Grahovic on the shelf, Sorrell's back this weekend, a preseason All-American. He's back in the lineup this weekend. But, I mean, they've got guys like Jace Lavalette who were elite hitters last year who have been very below average to even bad at times this year. So their biggest thing is A&M is ranked, I think, 7th in the country in team ERA. All three of their starting pitchers have ERAs under 2.5, and yet they're 0-6 in the SEC. It's because their offense has been really bad.
Yeah, and, you mentioned some of the surprises as well. The Georgia Bulldogs have been great. I mean, crushing the baseball. What they did to Florida last week, do you think that was more of Georgia than necessarily Florida? Is it a combination of both? Because, I mean, those games, I mean, they ran away with most of it.
Yeah, it's a combo. I mean, Florida's feeling it a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you followed their game against FSU last night, but, they had a lead in the bottom of the ninth, and they walked 2 guys, hit a batter, infield single, grand slam. I mean, that's a brutal way to lose your rival. So I think things are spinning out of control a little bit for Florida. That doesn't mean they can't get the car back in the lane, but, things are spinning for them a little bit. But, they've got injuries. Liam Peterson, their really good Friday guy, was out of the Georgia series, so they're already kind of behind the 8 ball against the Dogs. But, I mean, I tell you what, I mean, if you look at, Georgia's offense with Robbie Burnett and Rylan Zaborowski, Zaborowski's probably been one of the biggest surprises in college baseball. I mean, if you go look at what he did at Miami, Ohio, you're like, wait, where in the world did this come from? I mean, the guy's hitting over 470 with premium power. So I think the biggest thing with Georgia is they're really, really powerful and offensive, and West hasn't even gotten their pitching staff dialed in yet. Once that happens, I mean, the sky's the limit for them.
Before we get to LSU, Kendall, I do want to ask you about somebody near and dear to LSU's hearts. That is Paul Mainieri, now the head coach at South Carolina.
There you go.
17-9 overall, 1-5 in conference play. What were your expectations maybe of the Gamecocks coming into this season, and how have you viewed their play?
Yeah, I mean, my expectations of the Gamecocks coming into the season was like if they could just be in the regional discussion, that's a successful season, I think, with their talent level. I don't know if they're going to be in that discussion. I mean, if you look right now, they don't really have like a marquee series win. They now have ground to make up in the SEC. So it's going to be a tough first season for him. And I think the biggest thing for Paul, it's going to be an adjustment. I mean, when you're used to being at LSU, it's like, okay, you know what? We didn't meet our expectations. The next year we're going to be supremely talented. That's always a guarantee in a place like LSU. That's not always a guarantee in a place like South Carolina. So I think for Paul, it's going to be probably the most fascinating offseason in the history of his career, just to see the adjustments he's able to make with that program.
Catching up with Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball here on OTB. All right, let's get to the LSU Tigers. 23-3 on the season, 4-2 in conference play. They go to Austin, Texas last weekend. They take Friday night's game, and Saturday's game was a great baseball game. It was back and forth. LSU drops that one. They allowed it. It looked like to bleed into Sunday. They lose the series there. You know how it is, Kendall. You know how it works in these marquee programs. A lot of questions now being asked. I mean, that Saturday game was right there for them. They take the lead. If they're able to shut the door, probably having a different conversation. But just early thoughts on LSU this year.
Yeah, you know what? I don't take too much, bad or good from the weekend for LSU. I think, if I'm being frank, I think this is a big kind of statement weekend for Texas. I think they had this weekend circled. I think if you look at the energy level the last couple of games between the two teams, I think it was obvious that Texas was very much invested, which they should be in year one under Jim Schlossnagle. I thought LSU, the last 3 to 4 innings of Saturday and pretty much all of Sunday's game, did not play very good baseball, and yet they still had a chance to win that series. So my takeaway for LSU is like, hey, we didn't even play very well. And we, a couple of things happened here and there, and we could have very easily won that series. So I think on the positive side, I still feel pretty good about the offense. I mean, Barrett Jones was, just awesome.
Yeah.
We talked so much about his offense, and rightfully so. But I thought his defense over the weekend was exceptional. I mean, he saved a couple of runs with the way he kind of stretched out. There's almost Trey Morgan-esque a little bit.
Yeah.
He's been awesome. And, I think if you look at, Derek Curiel, he just continues to look fantastic. I think the biggest question mark for me with LSU, and I think it's something I think as the season progresses, I think all these younger arms will kind of settle in and refine their stuff, get a little more comfortable. But I just thought that some of the younger guys, like Will Schmidt, et cetera, they showed premium velocity, but they didn't show premium feel to pitch over the weekend against Texas. And you know what? It is different. I mean, I don't care what anybody says about how talented anybody is. When you go on the road and you're playing in front of 8,000 people that are going crazy, it's different, man. It's just way different. And so there's going to be some growing pains in that regard. But I think the biggest thing for LSU is, what does Jay do with the weekend rotation moving forward? I thought Ison actually was okay. Chase Shores was not okay. He missed a lot to his glove side, and his command is going to have to get better because guess what teams are going to do? They're going to pop in that Texas tape, and they're going to go, hey, make this dude throw strikes. And so Chase Shores is the name I circle is kind of the guy I'm keeping an eye on against Mississippi State this weekend.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations, Kendall, we were talking about it, where it's like Zach Cowan, he can do it. Wofford, it went out there a year ago when you were in the regional. You saw him do it. He's done it so far in an LSU uniform. It's like, do we have the luxury right now to try to put him on Sundays? Because right now you have a bullpen, like you mentioned, you were counting on young arms. They haven't quite yet caught up to the college game. It's like, okay, can we take maybe our best bullpen piece or at least one of our best bullpen pieces? I mean, Evans has been great too, and put him in the starting rotation. Can we maybe assume we'll get the same from Shores in the bullpen that we're getting from Cowan right now? Like, those are the questions you're asking because it's like the pitching staff right now is so thin that you're maybe a little worried about moving some pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this, and, Jay certainly would know this more than I would, but here's what I think I would do. I think with how just dominant that Cade Anderson has been at times, I think I like the idea of him starting on Fridays, closing Friday out with Case and Evans, moving Cowan to the weekend rotation, probably in that Sunday role. I would probably keep Ison where he is, but then put Cowan in that Sunday role. Then you have the option to bring Evans back out of the bullpen on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then you have the rest of your guys. That's probably what I would do because I thought Evans was actually, I don't want to just, do a blanket statement on all the young arms. I actually thought Evans was really good over the weekend in Austin. So, again, I like the idea of Anderson, Evans, Cowan on Sundays, and then go from there.
I like that as well. Kendall Rogers is our guest again, D1 Baseball here on OTB. One final thing, Kendall, before we let you go. Always appreciate the time. LSU, Mississippi State this weekend inside the box. Mississippi State right now, 16-9 overall, 1-5 in conference play, and you never, ever in the SEC want to assume anything, but LSU, pretty nice bounce back spot right here considering they lost those 2 of 3 in Austin to be able to have Mississippi State trying to find some things right now going their way coming into your home stadium.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at just how mad Jay was at the end of that game on Sunday, he gets tossed. I think it was very obvious he was kind of done with that game a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not a very good sign for Mississippi State. I think LSU came out on fire last night against the Cajuns.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go into the weekend breathing fire. I just think it's a really bad spot for a Mississippi State team that did not really play complete baseball. I will say this for State. I think the big key for them is they're going to have to get another great start from Pico Cone. He threw really well in Norman last weekend. He's a very talented lefty. Can kind of keep your offensive lineup off balance. But again, if he loses his start, there's really, there would have to be some sort of massive turnaround in the weekend rotation the rest of the weekend for them to find a way to win that series. So I like LSU 2-3 pretty easily in that one. It's not sweeping it.
All right, there he is, Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Kendall, man, we always appreciate the time. Thanks for hopping on with us. Great insight as always, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, Jacob.
Man, I love talking baseball. I love talking college baseball. I love breaking down other teams in the SEC as well, and Kendall does a fantastic job of it, so we always are thankful for his time. And actually, I kind of like his idea there as well. We talked about it, and Alondra, I saw you make the face, so go ahead. Throw the microphone over there because I know that you have different plans.
I just disagree with starting Cowan. I think he has to be a bullpen arm, whether it's on Friday night or Saturday night.
Is it because of the lack of other guys stepping up?
It's that. And Chase Shores is getting hit and he really doesn't have the command that he should now. Mm-hmm. But he's going to get there. He needs to get innings under his belt. And I've been saying this, they should have, I'm not going to tell anybody what they should have done, but if it was I would have started with Chase Shores in the midweek, early in the season, so that he could get those injury. Yeah, so that he could get those innings under his belt. And then they kind of did that with Thatcher Hurd when Thatcher Hurd was coming back from his injury, where they started him in the midweek, ended up pitching on Sundays, but I just disagree with having Cowan be the starter. And I think that Jay does too, because I said, I did the Jay Johnson show the other night and Chris asked him about that. And he's like, there's no question that he can start. Yeah. But I just don't know. I think that you have to keep him in the pin just off of what Jay says, where if you need it, Cowan is going to win the game. Yeah. So I disagree with that. I think you keep Chase Shores there and let him figure it out.
Now, I value your baseball opinion as much as I do anybody, but I'm going to throw another point at you to see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
If you did move Zach into the Sunday role, do you not think Chase Shores could give you what Cowan's given you in the bullpen?
Yeah, I guess so. But we also haven't seen it. Yeah, it's I guess you just haven't seen it, and he already is shaky starting. So I just don't know if it would be better out the pen than what it is now. But yes, I can see that happening too. I just don't know. But me personally, I'd rather it be the way that it's been.
And Tete, you obviously jump in here as well if you want to. So would it only be a certain day for Zach Cowan to come in for you? I think we were talking about this, earlier in the week. It's hey, maybe another day for him out of the bullpen where he can go a little bit longer. Maybe your starter doesn't go as long because on Fridays, you're going to get some, strong efforts from Cade.
Yeah.
What if you need Cohen 2 innings on Saturday and then you need him on 2 innings on Sunday? I mean, you can do that. Yeah. Because again, wins are wins. It doesn't matter where you get them. We were talking earlier about everybody saying you have to win Friday. If you lose every Friday game the entire year and win every SEC series, you're a top 5 team in the country and you're a host site for everything in the postseason. Wins are wins. It doesn't matter where they come from. So, do you throw Cowan on Sunday? Do you keep him for multiple days? But to your point about Chase Shores, Jake, what if he's Zach Hess?
Yeah.
What if he's dominant out of the pen? Because it was the other way with Hess. Hess was incredible as a freshman, as your closer. You tried to start him the next year. He just couldn't do it. You wound up moving him back. Who's to say that can't be a Chase Shores? Now, we haven't seen it yet, but, maybe it is time for some tinkering.
Yeah. And, I don't know, to me, if you're putting all your eggs in, the Friday basket, then you're throwing Saturday and Sunday out the window.
Right.
Yeah, like this
And you still lose the series.
Texas does not care that they lost on Friday.
They don't care that
do
they
not
lost
care.
on Friday. So if you're like, oh, we have to win Friday. We have to win Friday. I understand what you're saying, but like you have to win the series. Like the win on Friday now means nothing to me.
Yep.
It was a great win, but it means nothing to me because we lost the series.
Yeah, I'd rather beat Texas than LSU.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they took 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
They came back after losing game 1.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
And this isn't like, get right spot as far as Mississippi State's 1-5, but it's somebody that you know very well.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great rivalry, in baseball, back and forth and national champs and all that type of stuff. So you're going to have the attention of the team when Mississippi State comes in, right? They're not going to really care that it's 1-5. And Kendall mentioned like how excited Texas was to host LSU.
Yeah.
Right. I want that same thing for LSU against Mississippi State. So when I say can't, a situation where you can get right, I don't mean that because Mississippi State's 1-5. I think because you have Mississippi State coming into your building, you're pissed off that you lost 2 of 3 to Texas. You took some of that out on. I think you have that opportunity here to fix some things that you need to work on. Adrenaline, effort's not anything I worry about, but adrenaline, and Texas wanted that badly.
They wanted it worse than we did.
Yeah, you should want that same situation against Mississippi State this weekend.
And Kendall's right about Saturday where like LSU didn't play their best game and they still could have won that game.
Yeah.
So hopefully this weekend we can take out some anger on the people over in Starkville.
And it started, that anger started last night against ULL, and hopefully it can continue into the weekend. All right, we will step away. More OTB coming your way. Maybe we'll get a Tay-Tay NFL story of the day when we come back.
Off the bench.
All right, go to allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. Buying new, leasing, renting, whatever you're looking to do, they've got a vehicle for you and your family. You need something bigger. You need something smaller. If you want something better on gas mileage, if you want a hybrid, no matter what you want, they have it available. And they also have multiple options. A lot of times you'll go and it's like, hey, we've got one midsize SUV. We've got one truck. We've got one sedan. We got one hybrid. That's not the case over at All Star. Multiple midsize SUVs, multiple trucks, different sizes, Tundra, Tacoma. They've got the Sequoia. They've got the Sienna minivan. They've got something for everybody. Again, new. Also leasing. Don't forget about the rental department. If you've got something coming up, spring break, summer vacation already planned, maybe you've got a travel ball tournament, right, where you need a Sienna. You got 13 bat bags in the back of your car. Well, Sienna minivan is going to be that car for you. Rent it today at allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Why drink the water from my head?
Welcome to the 7th ranked morning sports show in America. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Just took my son towards your domain. You can't run it over again.
All right, welcome back in. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm going to wait to throw to Tay-Tay's story because I want to hear that. I was trying to wait as long as I could. I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear the hook there. All right, let's get to Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day.
It's time for Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day. Your daily dose of NFL news from Taylor Sharp.
This is going to sound old, but I promise it's not. The NFL committee, the competition committee, is likely to propose a change to the league's kickoff rules.
Again?
Again. I know.
What?
It could raise return rates for the 2025 season. So the proposal, it's expected to be submitted in time for next week's league meetings out in Florida. It would spot touchbacks at the 35-yard line instead of the 30-yard line, which is already way too close. In 2024, obviously, was the inaugural season of that revamped kickoff. They spotted touchbacks at the 30-yard line. They were saying that the shift in field position could prompt some coaches to instruct their kickers more often than not to place the ball in the landing zone between the 20 and the goal line, allowing for more kick returns. I don't like this at all. I love the kickoff. I think the kickoff still has a place in this game. I was one of the ones that was against the kickoff rule until I saw it in action, and I was like, hey, you know what? It's not that bad. I'm not worried about any of that. Giving a touchback to the 35-yard line, this league is already very, very offensive-centered. I mean, think about how big of an advantage offensive has nowadays in modern NFL football. To give them the ball at the 35-yard line, I mean, you have to go less than 70 yards. I don't like this at all.
No, look, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the new kickoff rule because I'm biased for the special teams players.
I still like the old better.
I know it's for player safety. We still do it at high school and college level. I know people want to get more returns. Just back the kicker up.
Yeah.
Back the kicker up. And you're like, yeah, but you're trying to cut down on those collisions. It's football. It is what it is.
Yeah, like you kind of knew that going in.
I had teammates, they were there for that. Now, when I first got into the NFL, you could have like a 5-man wall, and the Chiefs used to have like 3 offensive linemen and 2 D linemen in that wall. Was that fun hitting? It wasn't my favorite thing, but we were going to go in there like a bat out of hell and try to do anything we could to break it up. Maybe that's not the smartest thing to do, but since they made the rules where you can only have a 2-man wall, okay, like that's good enough. I don't know. I understand it's for player safety. Maybe I'm being too much of a meathead here. I like the old kickoff rules. Back the kicker up 5 yards. You'll have more returns.
Well, and then, why do they keep moving the line up? You can say, okay, well, we want more returns. Are you sure? Because you previously said you don't want more returns, which is why you changed the kickoff rule. And then you said, well, don't worry, it's going to give more returns. Well, now we're going to move it up. Like, when I was growing up, touchbacks were at the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
Now they're going to potentially be at the 35. I mean, that's awful. That you have to go 65 yards. Think about the offenses and how centered it is. I'll go back to that. Like, think about the scoring in the NFL today. Everyone wants to see offense. I know. I think the game is so tilted towards the offense already. Giving them 65 yards to go, I mean, that's nothing, because most kickers nowadays are going to hit 50-yarders. I mean, what? You got to go 15, 20 yards to get in field goal range?
Kickers in the NFL hit 50-yarders rolling out of bed now.
Yeah, like you got to go essentially 20 yards.
College kickers up here like just smacking 50-yard field goals.
Yeah, I don't like this rule at all. Like you can't just put it at 35.
Yeah, 35. That's a step too far. I'm with you there. 30's one thing. That's already. I'm with you there as well. Too far, but 35. My God. I mean, you hit an 18-yard dig route, run the ball once, and you got a chance at a field goal. I mean, that is not something I'd be in favor of. So we'll see if that gets pushed through. I want to throw an NFL story at y'all. I want to get your opinions here because we mentioned it quickly earlier. Russell Wilson going to be a New York Giant. So now, Jameis,
what does this mean
Russ,
for Jameis?
What a dynamic in that quarterback room. Those two personalities.
I like the move.
Jameis is just fun and all about team and,
Russ
making sure everybody's fired up. Russ is awkward and all about one person in that room, himself. That is going to be a dynamic.
I was telling you, it's a little weird that they gave Jameis a 2-year deal. Wilson only got a 1-year deal. I'm assuming they want Jameis to be the backup for whoever they draft in 2026, because I think them drafting Shedeur Sanders at 3 is completely out the window now with a move like this, because you brought back Tommy DeVito, who, I mean, not great, but, like, he can come in and do some things for you. Like, Tommy's had some success. So you have Wilson, Winston, DeVito. You're not drafting a quarterback. You're not keeping 4 on this year's roster, so that's not happening.
What'd they do with Drew Lock?
He's a free agent right now.
Okay.
They just didn't bring Drew Lock back, who I actually kind of liked. But
I like him better than DeVito.
Yeah, well, I mean, DeVito, he's New York. He's on the team for, appearances and all that crap. But, Jake,
cutlets.
About 2 weeks ago, it was reported that the Cleveland Browns really wanted Russell Wilson. They brought him in for a visit. Wilson apparently turned down the Browns. And I get it. They're the Cleveland Browns. I understand that. But, I mean, is he in a significantly better situation? Because, look, everybody used to clown that division. With Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts there now, like, that division went from easy to tough in a hurry. Yeah. I mean, is he in a tougher situation now?
I mean, it's kind of the same, but I guess you do have Malik Neighbors.
You do.
If you're, a New York Giant. Jerry Jeudy, if you're a Browns, your best receiver. The situations are kind of the same. Maybe Russ, because his ego's so big, he didn't want to have his name attached to that jersey.
The Browns, yeah. He was like, I want the New York market, maybe.
He didn't want to be another name on the bottom of it.
I get it. He is all about his image.
Also, I would rather live in New York than Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, for sure.
The mistake by the lake?
Yeah.
Cleveland?
Not a great place.
Sierra was like, I'm not living in Cleveland.
that was probably the deciding factor.
That is true.
Honestly.
I love you, my guy. We just lived in Pittsburgh. We are not going to Cleveland. That might be something. So Sanders isn't getting drafted by the Giants.
I wouldn't think so, but
right. I mean, if you sign them, if you sign Jameis to a 2-year deal, you sign Russ. I mean, I know you don't have a lot invested in it, but do you really want to have those 3 guys in the quarterback room? And this is a move to me that says, let's push it down the road.
Yeah.
Let's try to get by this year. Next year's quarterback class is much better. And if we suck, we'll draft a quarterback then.
But the thing is like, that was kind of their strategy last year too. Like, hey, let's kick the can down the road and like get through this year and then next year see what happens. And it's like, that didn't work out for you. So why do you think it's going to work this year? Because it's Russell Wilson?
I do like it for one reason. I hate when teams, you draft a quarterback knowing that after their first year, they're just going to fire the head coach and the GM. The Chicago Bears do this all the time. Yeah. Everyone and their mother knew that Matt Eberflus was going to get fired. You should have moved on from him before Caleb Williams. Now, it's almost like Caleb's starting over. He's in a new offense. Yeah. He has a new head coach. You expect it to be better. I mean, let's call it like it is. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are dead men walking at this point in New York, barring something unforeseen. I would have waited. I actually think this is the correct decision. Not only is the quarterback class better, but, I mean, you'll have a new GM, you'll have a new coach in all likelihood, and a quarterback. They can all grow together. I actually like them waiting this year.
Yeah. You know what the Giants have been? Trash. You know who can fix it?
Trash Rangers.
That's exactly right, Alondra. TrashRangers.com is the website. 225-363-9053 is the number. Residential commercial service. Sign up for those roll-off dumpsters if you've got your big project. 3 different sizes to choose from. They're going to know exactly which one that you need. Again, TrashRangers.com. So if Sanders doesn't go to the Giants, that makes it interesting because we were laying it out. I mean, there's not a lot of quarterback-hungry teams after that. And then you've got all of a sudden the hype of Jackson Dart as well.
Could Jackson Dart go before Shedeur Sanders is the question I'm asking now. I think Shedor's going to fall.
So funny.
I think he's going to fall because do you think that if he doesn't go 7 at the Jets, I think that's his only option in the top 10 because, look, the Giants were at 3. New England's not taking a QB at 4. Jacksonville, whether you think they should or not, is not going to at 5. I thought the Raiders was going to be all over him, but after signing Geno, that's not happening. Jets at 7 might be the team because after that, it's the Panthers who is Bryce Young the answer? Maybe, maybe not, but he showed promise. They're probably going to roll with him again.
They're not taking a quarterback, no.
The Saints, I don't trust them at all to take a quarterback in the first round.
It's been 50 years.
I mean, the Bears, 49ers, Cowboys, 10, 11, 12, none of them are doing it. I don't think the Dolphins do it. I mean, the Colts are at 14.
No.
I don't think they do it either. Then you have Atlanta at 15.
No.
Arizona at 16.
Nope.
I mean, Kyler was actually okay last year. 17, Cincinnati, no. Seahawks, 18. They just signed Darnold. The Bucs have Baker at 19. I mean, I don't know where he falls. Like, where does he go? If he doesn't go
21?
7 at the Jets, yeah, the Steelers would be it. If he doesn't
Mason
go 7,
Rudolph
he
right
could
now,
go to 21.
Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, the only quarterbacks they have on their roster.
Yeah, I mean, think about how far those. If he doesn't go 7, he could go all the way down to 21. I think he will. Oof.
Yeah, I think Jackson Dart, though, ends up as the Steelers quarterback.
So, okay.
And that's going to be, a lot of people are going to say that's Kenny Pickett 2.0. But I think Jackson Dart's more talented than Kenny Pickett.
I do too, for sure. And, well, you broke it down.
And he doesn't have tiny baby hands.
Across the board, he got better every year in the SEC. Like, that's not easy to do. And it was not just in one category. But, I mean, do we now think that Dart could go over Sanders, I guess is the better question.
Anytime we think we have the NFL draft figured out, it throws us for a loop.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that we do know is Cam Ward's the best quarterback right now.
Yeah.
I think that is widely known. Everybody thinks the same thought process. Cam Ward's the top guy. Now, even if he goes number 1 overall, we'll see. But he's the top guy. We don't really think about it. We don't really know. Like, this is one of those drafts that we don't know what the top 10 is going to look like. I love it like that because it's something where it's unpredictable and we get the, oh my God, did you see that moments? But if Sanders doesn't go at 3, which I don't think he will now, if he doesn't go at 7, he could last all the way down to 21. And, I just don't. We'd have to.
That's not prime.
I was about to say I think we'd hear about that.
Yeah.
We'd have to hear a whole offseason, about falling to number 21. So we will see. Not a deep quarterback draft. Just interesting. Russell Wilson signs there, kind of changes a lot of the math. At least we assume it does, even though it's just a 1-year deal. Feels like the Giants are just going to wait another year, suck another year, and then maybe select a quarterback in the next season. All right, we will take a break here. More OTB when we come back here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
All right, our new sponsor here on OTB, somebody we're very excited to work with, and that is Cool Pro HVAC. Now, you go to the website, and one of the things we've been telling you is they just do things different. They really do, and that's not like us just coming up here and trying to tell you a story. It's just actual facts. How many times have you had an appointment where it's like, okay, we'll be there between 8 and 2. Or we'll be there between like noon and 5, and you're sitting there, you're waiting all day. It's like, hey, I actually have work that I have to get done as well. That is not the case with Cool Pro. We're talking about 1-hour windows, just 1 hour. And also within that 1 hour window, you're going to be able to track your driver. You're going to be able to tell exactly where they're at, so you can plan your day. You can go about your business, and they're going to make sure that they take care of any problem that you might have. That's what kind of service you're going to get. CoolProHVAC.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand.
Welcome back to more sports talk with some other stuff mixed in. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
What would you consider the music we've played today? Because it is right in the wheelhouse for me as well.
I don't know, just like 90s rock.
I mean, a little bit, but it's been, some of it's 2000s, but it kind of falls
Yeah.
into the 90s rock.
Yeah, I guess Audio Slaves.
I mean, members of Audio Slave were certainly big in the 90s.
Yeah. I don't know, just vibes.
This whole album,
Just vibing.
incredible.
I don't know, like this version sounds kind of weird though.
Turn it up. All right. Chris Cornell, legend. Is this what, like, do you play more of this on your show?
Yeah. We go some like deep cuts too though.
Ooh,
and we'll even play like stuff that's not, you wouldn't traditionally like hear on a rock station. Like I've played Sheryl Crow on there, and I've played like, you wouldn't hear Sheryl Crow any other day on Eagle 98.1, but like we played that. I played some Sinead O'Connor.
Oh yeah.
I played some Fiona Apple.
See, that plays for me. See, that's what a music station like that, okay, so when you have, so the Tiger, they can play whatever they want because they play current hits.
Yeah.
Like, Eagle doesn't do that, right?
No, we
Eagle
don't have
doesn't play
any currents.
current hits. They don't play current hits. They play, so after a while, it changes.
Yeah.
Like, how far back you go changes, and so I actually think Eagle's probably going into its 90s grunge, like Fiona Apple kind of like independent kind of feel
like
to
alt.
it.
Yeah. We play Criminal by Fiona a lot, but yeah, I would say I do more like traditional grunge. Like, I do a lot of Nirvana. I do a lot of Alice in Chains. Like, if you're turning on Coffee and Flannel, you're going to hear some Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
You're going to hear Smashing Pumpkins at least once.
As you should.
Yeah. I don't know, but I like to go with like the I like to do like the alternative kind of stuff too. Like, we do No Doubt. You won't hear No Doubt any other time on
So what do they
Google.
play? Like, that all makes sense to me, what you're saying. So what's Dick Condon playing in the morning?
Probably some like Led Zeppelin. I've heard some AC/DC when I'm rolling up into the building.
You're not listening to Murphy, Sam, and Jody like T-Bob?
Oh no, I don't do that. I don't betray my coworkers.
All right, just wondering.
I'm not a poodle.
He's gonna be so mad at us, and it's also all gonna be. Like, I know it's gonna be all at me. Yeah. I'm just ready for it.
T-Bob's like excuse for why he listens to Murphy, Sam, and Jody is crap, because he always says, "Oh, well, you know, like I get like my traffic updates from there." Do you know how many stations? First off, 3 of our shows in the morning. This is the only station that does not do traffic, and he's like, "Well, I get my traffic from them. It's convenient that way." Like, bro, 3 of the 4 stations we own here at Guarantee have morning traffic reports.
Yeah.
So that's just a crap excuse.
Yeah. I think he likes them.
I think he likes them. Like, oh,
I think
you
he's
know what
giving
makes
in.
Me mad?
Yeah.
You know what makes me mad? When I'm like, oh, they're not even funny, and he's like, but they're very good at what they do. I'm like, shut up.
He's like, well, he's like,
them?
He's like, well,
like,
Roger, you're just not part of their audience. Like, you just don't get it.
He like starts to like
what
defend them.
They're very good at what they. I heard.
He said it the other day. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, we're very good at what we do
We're good
too.
at what we do too.
No, but yeah, he did. She said that, and he was like, well, like you just don't get it because you're not in that audience. But like, trust me, they're actually really good.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, because you're their audience, T-Bob.
God, it makes me so mad. Like, he's like one of those people that'll like play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop. Just stop. They're not funny. Just leave it at that.
Oh, we're going to beat them one day.
Yeah,
we're
one
going
of
to
these
beat them one of
days.
these days. Or we could just get nominated for Best Sports Show, and we'd
That's
win
a
that
layup.
as well. That is. You know what? Now that you say that, because that is such a layup, no. I want to stay in Best Morning Show. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I want to stay in Best Morning Show, and one day somebody in the middle of this country, because that's who votes in Indiana,
Kansas,
and Illinois, and Kansas, and all these states that are, well, Kansas is a like flyover state, I guess. I drove through there a couple times when my in-laws were in Topeka. I did not know like tumbleweeds were a real thing until I drove from Denver to Topeka. They are, but you know what? That's also like if they sent it to somewhere that had a little bit more of a vibe to it, we would probably win.
Right.
That's who
because
listens to
you're
Murphy,
saying it to,
Sam, and Jody. Tumbleweeds.
Yeah, the Midwest.
And a lot of other people,
Yeah,
apparently.
God, whatever. And it just like makes me so angry when he says that. And like to Taylor's point about like him waiting on a traffic report, do you not have Waze? Download the Waze app, T-Bob, and you won't ever need to wait on a traffic report from
and it'll
Murphy,
tell
Sam,
you
and Jody.
the way to go. I've got a couple of places that I go in my life that I could get there with my eyes closed, but I use Waze.
Yeah.
Because I want to
It'll tell
know
you.
what the traffic situation is.
Exactly.
Right? My son practices baseball, both my boys, my middle boys, Memphis and Hudson, at Jefferson Baptist. Shout out to the Lugnuts. Right? As the crow flies, it ain't very far from our house. But that crow's got to take a lot of different ways to get there.
Yeah.
All right? The traffic is not fun at 5 o'clock. I'm going to put it in Waze.
Really not.
I'm going to see which way I need to go. That's going to be my traffic report. I don't need Murphy, Sam, and or Jody to tell me that.
No.
I need them to tell me about getting your nails done and the car wash and putting contacts in.
I guess I just
Which
don't put
did
out
big
stupid
numbers.
enough content.
I think Murphy, Sam, and Jody know about us.
No.
I mean,
No
again,
chance.
Murphy came up and started talking to Matt at the table.
Yeah. I think they're in cahoots.
I was about to say, does this mean they're in cahoots?
Oh, no. They know Matt.
I think
They
they're
don't
in
know us.
cahoots.
Guys, I know what we're doing wrong. We have not posted not one recipe video on OTB's Instagram page.
Shoot, I got one. I'll give out my orange chicken recipe. It's
A
the only thing I know how to
tortilla
cook,
quiche
guys.
base.
Oh, yeah, that's going to put us over the top. The
We
guy from
haven't-
Walker putting out his orange chicken recipe.
We haven't made any
it works for
tortilla
them,
quiche
Jake.
bakes.
Alondra, can you whip us up a Mexican dish? Because you always talk about like ones
do
that
it.
sound so great.
I can do it.
Okay. I'll come up with a Meathead Monday recipe. All right, just steak and taters. We'll come up with that.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put it on T-Bob and Taylor. I can't let you put out orange chicken.
I don't know how to make anything else, guys. That's all I have.
How's
Tell
the
you
one
what.
thing you
Tell
know
you
how
what.
to make orange
Okay,
chicken?
Tell you what. Grilled cheese. I'm good at it. We can do that.
We can do grilled cheese.
We can do
Okay,
grilled
I
cheese.
can do grilled cheese.
Grilled
That-
cheese.
Can we get
grilled
sourdough
cheese
bread?
fits you.
Basil
Yeah,
soup
yeah,
Can
combo.
we get some
The
sourdough
grilled cheese
bread?
tomato basil soup combo. We
That
can do
makes
that.
sense. Like that fits
We can do
you.
that.
Orange chicken did not.
Yeah. All
All
I'm
right.
saying is that Murphy, Sam, and Jody did not do the investigative reporting that I did whenever I found out that Mormons are vampires.
Exactly.
Like,
I know.
I found that out and I reported, I broke the news on the air. They're not doing that.
All my Mormon friends, I love you. I love you, Eric Weddle. You're my guy. You're not a vampire.
How do you know that?
Maybe he is. He's really good.
Plus,
I mean, played with a torn pec in a Super Bowl.
He left, came back.
I know.
And
After
won the
like
Super Bowl
after
with
like
the Rams.
2 years off.
Yeah, and then won the Super Bowl with the Rams.
I think that
Is
we
Weddle
just
a
made
vampire?
another
Maybe because he
discovery
didn't
on the
age.
air.
Yeah, maybe he's the
Yes.
same
He
age when
played
he
with a
retired.
torn pec in the Super Bowl.
I mean, that sounds like super healing powers
At like
to me.
40
I know.
and won as a safety.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. We'll dive back into that. We'll see what we can pull up what the facts are. The facts about Boudreaux's Electrical, though, are they are a 5-star business. More power, more protection, always with Boudreaux's on the North Shore, 985-397-1562. In Baton Rouge, 225-300-9389. Go to boudreauxelectrical.com today. Get a free quote right there on the website, top right corner. Again, boudreauxelectrical.com. We'll close it out with Ask the Bench here on OTB.
Off the bench.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Welcome back to the best morning sports show around. Sorta. It's Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in, OTB. Time now for Ask the Bench. Do you appreciate constructive criticism from people you know have your best interests at heart, or do you think screw them haters?
I think it depends on how it's delivered.
Yeah, who it is definitely. Like, there's some people I know are going to tell me if I suck, and I want to know if I suck.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
like if y'all gave me constructive criticism, I'd be like, all right, yeah, cool, thanks.
But if somebody else, you'd be like, hold up now.
I'd be like, what are you talking about?
There's definitely people like I wanted my coaches to tell me, hey, you suck at this, get better at it.
Yeah,
I didn't want them to tell me I was okay.
I was telling y'all I didn't know Fiona Apple. This song's sassy. I like it.
Okay, so you do know the song?
Fiona's sassy.
No, but I like it.
Oh, it's a great song. How many SEC teams make the Final Four?
Two.
Yeah.
Ask the Bench, what's worse, Scone not voting OTB #1 for the national award, or T-Bob being a fan of Murphy, Sam, and Jody?
T-Bob being a fan of Murphy, Sam, and Jody.
Yeah, because the national award is a national. This is literally Baton Rouge. Like, this is direct.
I think it's,
also, like, he's part of this show. T-Bob is.
Yeah.
So it feels more of a betrayal.
I hadn't even told Matt this, so I actually hope he's listening because he'll get a good laugh. Whenever he was explaining why he didn't vote OTB #1 and #2, he's like, and I voted for on campus. Like, it's off campus.
Jake's
and he kept
like,
saying it. He kept saying, like,
no
I
wonder
voted
we
for on
didn't win.
campus. I was like, I didn't have the heart to correct him because it was like a serious conversation.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the vote. Ask the Bench, can we get Austin Bain to come back in and do traffic and the occasional sweaty live reads? Y'all weren't here for that. My man Austin Bain, cousin Austin.
Yeah.
He used to have like a live read he'd do, and he got so nervous. Oh my gosh. I mean,
that.
almost would throw up every time he had to do
gosh.
it. Gosh, I miss those days, man. That was fun. Me, Austin Bain, and Flynn just doing shenanigans for 2 straight hours. All right, it's going to do it for us today. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day.
Off the Bench.
All right, go to ktozblinds.com, ktozblinds.com. I cannot tell you during this time, again, you've heard me say it, but this time of year is really the one where you're going to notice it. Love the outdoor shade we have. I mean, so it's on, it kind of screens in our back porch, and you can drop that thing down, and as it heats up, you can still enjoy being outside. I mean, Harlow loves it. The dogs will go sit out there because it's going to cool that space off, right? It's also going to cool off your living room, so you're going to save on that as well. And if you're trying to watch TV, we all know like the sun's just shining right there on it in the living room. The outdoor shade, you drop that thing, takes the glare off completely, changes everything in our living space, indoors and outdoors. K2Z Interiors and Outdoor Living, they are your go-to. Going to know your space better than you literally in 10 minutes. ktozblinds.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.